means that it's picking up the audio. So, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
You good?
Hello.
You see it?
There's supposed to be one on the bottom too that's moving? Or is it
Yeah,
just
as
the
long as you
top?
see the green bars, you're good.
All right.
All right, sweet. Well, welcome, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's episode 4. So, how's the summer been, man?
It's been good. A lot of baseball, beach trips,
Baseball.
hanging around.
What? How old's your boy?
So there was 4 and 5. No, 5 and 6. Birthdays mixed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do both of them play?
Mm-hmm. Same team.
They both play the same team?
Yep.
Is it like, is it coach pitch or the machine?
The
or?
pitcher machine.
I was talking about that with Koch the other day. I've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did that overtake coach pitch or?
I think so, because the way they do it is they'll give them 3 pitches off the pitch machine, and then they'll go to the tee.
Okay.
And then they'll swing at the tee forever until they make contact.
Okay. Did you play whenever you were a kid?
I played coach pitch and T-ball and then pitch machine, and then I got out of it before, because you stick a kid in the outfield
Yeah.
and just playing with the grass, like I'm losing interest. So
So you never got up to coach pitch
No.
or kids pitch?
no.
Yeah. I don't blame you, man.
I was a little scared to get rid of the ball. I'm not gonna lie.
Kids you scare the shit out of me, man.
Yeah.
One of my first times ever playing kids pitch, I got through it and I turned and got hit right in the back with one of the balls. That shit hurts, man.
Lenny got hit in the hand with a pitch the other day for the first time. But it's not real balls like we had growing up.
Yeah.
Like the hardwood.
Oh, are they
balls.
soft ones?
They're pretty soft. So
Oh,
he
damn.
took it like a champ.
Okay. Yeah, nice. I remember me and Zach we had to have been, maybe we were maybe 12 or something. We played baseball for like 8 or 9 years, but we were still kids at this point. And we were playing outside of our neighborhood, and my dad was asking me to pitch to Zach, and then so I guess we were getting used to kids pitch or whatever. I kid you not, man. I hurled that thing as hard as I could, hit him right in the temple of the head.
Crumpled it.
Hey, dude, he was so pissed. He still talks about it now. I might have left permanent brain damage on that dude. Some of that shit is rough, though, man. You suffer some serious injuries out there.
They're fun to watch though, because
Yeah.
I mean, 9 times out of 10 they're just playing in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like it's like a moth to a flame. And I'm coaching either first base or third base, and trying to get them to run.
Mhm.
They're not listening. They're just sitting down on
Yeah.
the base. And it's the time.
Yeah. So you like assistant coach? You just help run the team a little bit? Or?
So they were looking for coaches to volunteer, and I didn't know the CST schedule,
Mm.
so I just kind of stayed out of it. But then I showed up after they picked a coach and assistant coach, and I was like, if you need help, I'm more than happy to help. So, because I know it's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
at least Lenny is a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's some other kids out there that are
Yeah.
a handful.
Is this your first time doing that?
No, I was the head coach in Germany.
Oh,
Whenever-
snap.
Yeah. It was not the same.
Yeah, I was about to say that had to be a little different.
yeah. It's like the tees were different. They were using like the styrofoam bats you get at Walmart.
Okay.
Like the little styrofoam balls, and like it was a whole different, way different.
Yeah, that sounds pretty weird. But so you were able to coach now though because of your CST schedule, right?
Yeah.
You said you leave on the 23rd,
25th.
25th.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Be back July 31st.
are you 6th reg?
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, that makes sense because Zach and Bodwin both leave on the same day because they're both 5th,
Mhm.
and Bodwin actually comes back in a couple days. Actually, I think he comes back in a little bit over a week. He's back at mountain school right now. I had to drop that fucker off at the airport, man. We woke up at 3 a.m. to get him to the airport at 3:30. That shit was awful, dude. I never want to do that again. If he's listening to this, I hope he takes me to my airport. Screw that, man. Yeah, are you ready to leave?
I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's nervous.
Yeah. I just don't want to do it.
It's a combination of I don't want to do it, and then at the same time, like the unknown.
Yeah, I get that. I'll be totally honest. It just, one, it sounds super lame to me, and 2, I'll go to air assault school, but I don't want to have to, sit here with a bunch of lame, weirdo cadets that I have no idea who they are. I don't know how good they are, what they're doing.
Yep.
And now I've got to have them pretty much walk me through this and be on my team. I don't know you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you pretty much got to show up at this damn at this base, grab a whole new platoon full of dudes, and just be like, okay, here we are. This is my team. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Nah, I'm ready for it to be over with before
Yeah.
it even starts.
Yeah.
That and I look at the packing list and there's so much shit we gotta
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of lame.
Yeah, I totally agree. What are you most worried for, you think?
Sticks lanes, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like everything else is kind of just a refresher of what we've done in our career.
Yeah.
So the sticks lanes coming from like being a mechanic
Doesn't
do
really
anything.
translate. Yeah,
Nah.
so is that kind of a strange transition coming from being a mechanic to coming out here and
Dude, it was like drinking water out of a fire hydrant. When I first showed up to ECU, like
That's
first
awesome.
time on a college campus, first time like doing the stuff we've been doing.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, we did the 10 level stuff in basic, but that's the last
Yeah.
time I touched it. Like land nav, first time I did land nav since basic training was whenever I went for ESB. Whenever I was in
Mhm.
Germany and failed that, unfortunately. That's why
yeah.
I always joke about me getting lost in the woods every time I do land nav.
Well, that and you're afraid of the dark as well.
Yep, that's a big one too.
That trips me up because every time we do any sort of night land nav or the sun starts going down towards the lanes, everybody's like, "Man, I hope Spears is okay."
I feel cool. Like I'm fine during the day. Like I found all my day points.
Yeah.
Night comes around when the sun starts going down. I'm like, ooh,
Ooh, shit. That's hilarious. Oh, well, don't you like to hunt as well? How does that factor?
Yeah, I walk real fast to that deer stand in the morning, and I walk real fast to the truck leaving at night. At least I have a gun then. I'll
Yeah.
have a little pocket knife or something at
What,
land.
have you had a bad experience in the dark or what? What is that?
Not really.
Just
I think it's more like not childhood trauma, but like as a kid, every kid's scared of the dark.
Yeah.
My parents were like, "Don't fucking leave your bed, no matter what." And I'm just like laying there. I mean, this is for phones and all that stuff. So you're just laying there looking at the ceiling, trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
The house is dark, and I just was never a fan of it.
That's funny. Yeah, my cousin. I hope he listens to this one day because this is the funniest shit. But he used to. I don't know if he's still scared of the dark. Maybe he's not by now. But they would show us footage of him going outside to take out the garbage, and he would he'd walk the trash all the way to the bin at the end of the road where he was out of sight of the camera, and then a couple seconds would pass. You see him sprint back to the house.
Well, growing up in Alabama, we had a house that had a few acres of just straight hardwoods behind us.
Yeah.
And the only light we had like the security light pole in the backyard, and we had a huge backyard. But I was always so terrified to, even during the day, to like get around the woods because
Mm-hmm.
my dad is if he ever hears this, huge believer in Bigfoot. Now as an adult, I'm like, that's fucking stupid. But I don't know. As a kid, like that just kind of stuck with me, like
Yeah.
the unknown of the woods.
Yeah, I get that. I've definitely had some moments where I'll be fine walking through the woods, or if I'm hunting trying to track a deer or something,
Mhm.
and then I hear something, I'm like, it's time to go. I'm not sticking around for that. I don't care what it is. I don't care if that's a possum back there. I'm gone. But it definitely is funny. But I didn't know you were from Alabama. Is
Yep.
that where you were born?
Yeah, I was born in Alabama. I grew up there until I was 13, and then we moved to Pamlico whenever
Pamlico.
2010. So like it's near New Bern. It's like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Not on the coast, but the water. But
Okay. Yeah. So this is the 4th episode. You're probably the one I'm least familiar with as far as like
Mhm.
your career and where you're from and stuff. But what was Alabama like? I've never.
So
I don't think I've spent much time in Alabama.
where I'm from, it's called Monroeville. It's like in between Mobile and Montgomery. So
Mhm.
like everything around the area is just cornfields and cotton fields and stuff. So there's nothing out there. The reason why I'm a huge Alabama fan is because that's all we had was college football. That's the only thing you really look forward to.
I'm sure out there, with nothing to do, you usually find something to do. It's either not normal or it's not legal. But
yep, both of those usually.
So, well, you moved to North Carolina about right before you hit high school then?
Yep. I was going in 8th grade.
Okay.
So I finished 7th grade, spent the summer in North Carolina, and then rolled right into new school year.
Okay. Was your family, like, you come from military and your family? Or?
Well, my dad, he's a tugboat captain. So that's
He's a what?
Tugboat captain.
Oh.
So it's like a boat that pushes the barges and stuff. So that's how we ended up in North Carolina. But my granddad and most of my uncles and them have served in some capacity.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool. They ever talk about what they did, or?
So my granddad was in during the Vietnam, like early Vietnam time. He went to Fort Polk, somewhere else in the States, and then he was stationed in Stuttgart, Germany, which is where I was at, which is pretty cool. Small little base. But then I had, on my dad's side, my great-great-grandfather was an ensign in the Coast Guard. So,
okay.
But
yeah, my dad was a little coasty. I give him shit for it all the time.
He ended up in some circus, like big name circus after that. I was like, wow, you've had a very interesting life.
A circus? Like an actual circus?
Yeah, like the barn, what is it? It's a big name circus. I have to look it up. It's one of the, I can't remember the name of it.
I don't even know any circuses. What did he do? Did he
like
blow the fire out of his mouth?
They were pretty cool though.
You like ride the tigers and stuff?
One of the oddities. Or nah, I don't know. They never really talked about it. I have a book from his Coast Guard time that I just recently got from my mom, so I have to look into it.
That's cool.
Yes.
With Alabama kind of being landlocked, what was it like moving to the coast? Or did you?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I loved it because we would go to Pensacola Beach and watch the Blue Angels fly and practice and
Oh,
stuff out
cool.
there. Yeah, it was pretty neat. But that was once or twice a summer, maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, me and my wife went to the beach like 4 times already since school's let out.
Yeah. I've never actually gotten to see the Blue Angels. They look pretty fucking sick, though.
Sick, yeah. So Cherry Point over here in New Bern, or Havelock, they do the air show every 2 years, and the Blue Angels will come. So they got like Fat Albert and the Jets and stuff. It's pretty neat.
That's
I think
sick.
it'll be next summer though, so we'll be looking to go to Bullock.
Yeah. Ah, damn.
So I'll miss it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool though that you got to go. I've never understood. That's got to be extremely dangerous what they do, man. There's no. I'm sure they practice a lot, but still, I mean, they're inches apart. Like it's.
I've seen they've got a documentary on it on Amazon, and there's dudes like when they're not flying, they're just continuously like shadow boxing, like visualizing themselves in the jet, closing their eyes and stuff.
You know, it's cool whenever you see some of the. Sometimes whenever you talk to some of them about the G's pressing on their head, they're losing so much blood to the brain.
Yep.
They make like weird,
Faces.
forceful noises to try and get the blood back pumping.
Yep.
It's pretty funny to listen to that. They're like, hoot, hoot, hoot.
what are you doing right now?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But I've always wanted to go see them. I don't think I've ever gotten to go see an air show or anything like that. I think the closest thing I've seen to that is like a boxcar race.
Yeah, they're fun. Air shows are fun. And then another thing they did in Pensacola was the poker run with the not jet boats, but the power boats, like the double hull power boats. So we would go and watch them do that. It was pretty neat.
A poker run?
Yeah, it's like I don't know the ins and outs of it, but like they have different power. It's like NASCAR but on the water.
Oh,
so
that's pretty
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
Is it like? It's like an actual boat. It's not like a wind boat or anything.
No. It's they got a big. It's a cigarette boat. I
right.
guess that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 hulls, big inboard engine, and I mean it's like a NASCAR on the water.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, man. The closest I can get to that is my stepdad used to take me and my family out to Sharon Harris, and dude, he'd rip us on the tube, and that's about it. But he was brutal with it, man. Like, it was borderline dangerous. And I remember he took me, it was me, Zach, and our cousin Logan, the one that's scared of the dark. And we were all pretty young, but we were all three on the tube at the same time. And this is a small ass tube, and he was going around in circles to get the waves all big. And I kid you not, man, we hit this wave. It was probably the size of, I don't know, it was probably 10 feet tall. We hit that wave, and all of us just start flying off of this thing. You have to down some Tylenol after that, man. Your body's just skipping across the water like a rock.
You're holding on so tight to your muscles are tense.
Yeah, dude, that's tough, and it makes you so hungry. We used to get those like turkey and mayonnaise sandwiches. Oh. That shit was awesome. Yeah, it makes you so hungry.
Yeah, yesterday we were at Sam's, and they got all the pool stuff and tubes out. And my daughter, she's 11. She says, "What is that, like a pool, or like you just hang on it like a float?" And I was like, "No. Whenever we get a boat, whenever your mom lets me get a boat, I've got 11 years of pent up cares and rage. I'll send you. Don't worry."
So do you want one? You want a boat?
Oh yeah. Me and Koch were looking forever, and we're going to use some of my VA money, but didn't quite pan out. I just don't know, because we're trying to either go back to Italy or go back to Germany, Italy. We don't really know where we're going to go next. So I was like, it doesn't really make sense to dump a bunch of money into a boat and just let it sit for another 4 years.
That makes sense. Could you even do anything with that if you went back to Germany?
No.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't be able to take it there.
No. I mean, they have boats and stuff, but it's so expensive. Everything there is like pretty regulated. So, I mean, that and shipping it over there is just not worth it.
So. You got like a little John boat though, right?
Yeah, it currently doesn't run.
That's nice.
I got a little trolling motor. It's funny, me and Koch got on the boat. It looked like something off the Notebook. We were just out there with a little trolling motor. But yeah,
y'all go hunting off that much, or?
No, we hadn't duck hunted off of it, because it wasn't running then either. It has been it's like a year long. I got back from Germany, tried to get it going, and then me and him tinkered with it for months, and it's still in the same state it was whenever I got back. So I was like, I'm done dumping money into this thing.
That's funny. Whenever you were finally moved to North Carolina, did your parents get a boat? Did you get to do stuff like that?
So my dad is a very impulsive man.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to buying toys. So I was in the bed one day during the summer, and he's like, "Everybody get up. We're going to go get a boat today." I was like, "What the fuck? When did we get a boat?" So we had to drive from Oriental, North Carolina to Atlantic Beach. Met this random dude in his backyard, bought a 22-foot sailboat.
Oh, my God.
He doesn't know how to sail. Like, never has set foot on a sailing boat in his life. And so we just motored with this little tiny motor all the way through around Atlantic, Morehead City, and through the Intercoastal Waterway, and then back to our house. And I was like, it took 8 hours. It was so fucking long. The worst trip of my life.
Why would he buy a sailboat without knowing how to sail?
We took it out one time that he had it, and he didn't even put the sails up. Like, we just motored out into the Neuse River. I jumped off the back of the sailboat and swam a little bit with my sister, and then we went back into the house, and then it sunk in a hurricane one day. Got insurance money off of it, so I guess that was a win.
So he never learned how to do
it? Never learned how to sail. That's why I say he's so impulsive.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you gain any of that impulsiveness?
I did, and my wife really dialed it back. She really dialed it back. I mean, we've been together 9 years and married 8, so I was very impulsive in the first few years of our marriage, and she was like, "You gotta dial that shit back." Like,
just buying dumb shit.
Yep. I came back from my first deployment. She had bought a car, and I was like, "I want something nice too.
Yeah.
I want to upgrade." So I got a Dodge Ram.
What year was that?
It was 2012 or 2013. So this was 2000. I got back 2018.
Okay.
And I sold that, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna buy a motorcycle." So I went and bought a Harley. Never rode a motorcycle in my life. I have barely rode 4-wheelers too. So like using the clutch and the gear shift, no idea what I was doing. My father-in-law was like, "Well, just hop on it and ride around the neighborhood." Laid it down in the neighborhood, right in front of the MPs. I had no motorcycle license either. And he's like, "You good, buddy?" I'm like, "Yeah, just please leave me alone so I don't get in trouble."
Jesus
I sold
Christ.
that, and I was like, "I'm never gonna ride a motorcycle again."
I've always thought having a super souped up bike would be cool. Like
Yeah.
if you had like a Ducati or something.
Mm.
Like I said, I've never driven one either, but they look cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what really attracted me was like it looks cool and
Yeah.
I can mod it and do things, and I had it the way I wanted, and I was like, I still don't know how to ride it though. It's not gonna go well,
That's awesome.
especially in Fayetteville. It's like driving in Greenville. Everybody's crazy there.
Yeah, that had to have been an interesting time for your wife, just
Yeah.
coming, buying all this shit.
Yeah, she was a lot more reserved then. She wouldn't like. She told me after that she knew it was a bad idea and she wishes she would have said something.
Mhm.
Now she'd be like, "You're not fucking doing that, you stupid." Like,
That is funny. Yeah, I think it's super important sometimes whenever you don't know kind of how crazy you seem,
Mhm.
and then it's kind of nice to have a lady that's like, dude, you're fucking retarded. What is
Yep.
what is up with you? Why are you doing this shit?
Especially you get a guy who's never had that much money in his life,
Oh, yeah.
young private.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yep, you're bound to do some. I always told myself I was like, I'm not gonna do stupid shit, and I always definitely did it.
Got like the Charger with the
Nah.
27% APR.
I bought a Dodge Dart. That was my first car, and I almost had it paid off coming back from deployment because all the extra pay,
hmm
and that's when I was like, I'm just gonna get something nice. Did not pan.
How long did you have the Dodge before you sold it?
uh,
The Ram.
I couldn't get rid of the damn thing.
Really?
That was the problem, yeah. Because somehow I had so much positive equity on that Dodge Dart, and you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I had a shit ton of negative equity in that truck, so nobody would want to pay more for it because they're like, it's only
Right.
worth this amount. But I had it for probably, I want to say 2 years,
Mm.
so pretty much almost the entire time I was at Bragg.
Yeah. Some people go through cars like underwear, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
I used to work with a guy whenever I was a personal trainer and a lifeguard at this wellness center back in Smithfield, and his name was Frankie. He was a good dude, and he's a wild dude. But I believe he had a new car at least every month.
Mm.
And by the time I was talking to him, he said that he had owned over 42 vehicles. What is wrong with you?
I don't know how you can do that
No.
unless you're leasing them or
Yeah.
there's no way.
Or if you're paying for one super expensive one and then you get a cheaper one and
Yeah.
a cheaper one and a cheaper one, then you just end up with a shitbox
Yep.
car. Like,
And you started out really nice.
yeah, no, man. I have no idea what he was doing, but he was going through cars like cigarettes, man.
Cartel.
Yeah.
Mafia.
maybe, man.
Something.
There's zero chance. One, that he was making the kind of money.
Oh, yeah.
He was a personal trainer. Like, you're not balling. You know what I
A
mean?
little side hustle.
Yeah. I don't think his wife was rolling in it either. Makes no sense. But people like that are crazy. I just bought so my first truck was I had a 2004 Silverado,
Mhm.
and I liked it a lot, but I just kept having to pay for repairs on it, and the gas was so expensive to fill it up. And
Oh, yeah.
whenever I first moved to Greenville, I was commuting an hour to work because I wasn't at ECU,
Mm.
and I don't know if I was in college at this point. I was commuting an hour. I was maybe 20 minutes from the Virginia border. I was Allender and a Hosky.
Mhm. Yep.
Fucking hate it. I hate that place. Anyway, so I bought that Ford Maverick that I had for a while. I loved it. It was super tiny.
Yep.
It's my kind of thing. It looked like something that I would drive.
Yep.
But that thing was fun though, and it was new. It was like a 2022 Maverick, and then I was making the money at my job to pay for it, but then I was like, I'm fucking losing my mind at this job. I hate my life. I was like, I need to go to school and get away from this. So then I was paying for that, and then whenever shit started getting too hard at school making money and all that, I sold that again and got my GTI that I have outside. That it's pretty fun. I think I enjoy the Maverick a little bit more though.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge car guy,
No.
but I don't know anything about them. But I think I just like the Maverick a little bit more.
Yeah, I was pretty close to getting a Maverick.
They're nice.
In Germany
Okay.
because my wife's Dodge Grand Caravan had a check engine light come on, and I mean you're not getting anything in Germany that's American spec unless you go to the MAS dealership. And
Yeah.
they're gonna shaft
yeah.
you real good.
Yeah.
They like try to make it seem like you're
Try to justify it.
Yeah, and I was like, well, if this does like I can clear the code and we can get this Maverick. Maverick's pretty cheap. I
Yeah.
can have that and you can get something whenever you get back, but it didn't pan out because I had a Ford Ranger before I got the truck I have now.
Mm-hmm.
It was paid off. I had that. I bought that after the motorcycle.
Nice.
Shit little truck.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't kill it. I tried. I would take a deer hunting out of Fort Bragg, and I would just like there was a deer that ran across the road one time, and I whiskey throttled it trying to hit this deer, and I was like, oh my god, it just ran out. I couldn't pay somebody to hit that truck. And then this sweet old lady from Washington or somewhere around here. She bought it, and then I ended up with a Silverado. And she's like saying how well I took care of it. And everything. I was like, I mean, I serviced it and maintenanced it, but I drove it like a bat out of hell.
I changed the oil. That's about it. So the Silverado is what you got now?
Yeah,
How you like that?
I love it. Like going from a pretty much two-seated truck that it's a clunker to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 2010, but it's new to me. So, but. I like it a lot. The gas isn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty comparable to my wife's car.
Okay.
But I got rear-ended a few weeks ago.
Oh no.
Literally couldn't pay anybody to hit that Ranger. And
Oh my God.
I hadn't even had that truck a year, and we were at a stoplight, and I seen him. He had his head tilted back. I guess he was just resting his eyes for a second, and his foot slipped off the brake, and he just bumped into my back of my truck.
That pissed me off so bad.
I was hot.
What happened with that? Did you have much damage on it?
No, it just dented the back bumper a little bit.
Nice.
It looks like somebody who didn't know how to back up a truck to a trailer kissed the trailer tongue.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was a super nice guy. He owned a construction business and gave me his business card. He was like, let me work it off or try to fix it or something. I was like, it's not that big of a deal.
Be like, you can renovate all my cabinets, all my dressers.
Come back and the landlord's like, why is the house completely different than whenever I let you move in?
Yeah, my dad used to have this old this Chevy S10. Dude, that thing was a piece of shit. I hated it because it was the only thing that he could afford because we were poor. And then he would drive it, and then we weren't old enough to sit in the front seat. So there was this little fold-down flap that one person could sit on, and then the other person had to cram in the back seat like this, right behind the driver's seat. And it was ridiculous. Like, if you would have seen what we looked like in the back of that truck, you would have thought that he was kidnapping us. You would have thought, like, man, these kids need help. They're about to get shoved in a coffin or something. Like, it looked like we were going through rigor mortis. Like, our hands were cinching into claws. Like, I couldn't move. You couldn't go anywhere.
My granddad had a Ford Ranger too, growing up, and it had the flip down back seats, and you're facing the other person in the back. And it's the same way. Like,
Yeah.
I'd want to just ride in the back bed of the truck, which is highly frowned upon now, especially at that age.
Yeah.
But he's like, fine, do it.
Yeah. My dad had another funny story where he whenever we used to work at this solar site, they gave us these big F-250s, and he was going down an exit ramp one day, and then I guess maybe a stoplight stopped him or something or whatever, or stop sign, and then he came to a stop, and then person rolled up behind him and rear-ended him. And he said he came out and looked at the back. He said that it was a steel rear fender, and he said he looked at it. He said he just looked at the front of their car. It was freaking crushed. He said he gave him a thumbs up. He just drove away.
It's funny with me getting rear-ended. I have a triple ball hitch that sticks out pretty far, and I had it on the truck since I bought it,
Mhm.
and the day before I got rear-ended, I took it off.
Oh, dude.
And if I would have left it on there, it'd have ruined this guy's front end.
That's
It'd have saved me, but
yeah. I was about to say it probably would have hurt him a little bit more than it hurt you.
Yep.
That would crush his damn the hood of his car. What did he hit you with? What did he have?
He had a Dodge Ram 1500, like like the work truck
Yeah.
type deal. But whenever we first got back from Germany, this was in August, late August. So we were using my mother-in-law's car. She had a Ford Edge. We'd been driving around with it and stuff, and we stopped to turn into my in-laws' house, and this dude wasn't paying attention, and a newer 4Runner just came around 60, rear-ended us.
Oh.
Her bumper was messed up, moved the exhaust pipe forward a little bit, and it just buckled the frame, but like it's still drivable. They have it now.
Yeah.
Dude, like the 4Runner smashed in half. Just completely wrecked this guy's car.
Jesus Christ. Those older cars, man, they're tough as nails.
Built Ford tough. Should have been a Ford ad.
Yeah, that's funny, dude. Yeah, some of those older cars, you know, the way they were built, some of the materials they made, they were tough as shit.
Yep.
Thankfully, I haven't gotten anything because that GTI will crumble like a
It's
freaking Lego.
It's like those little smart cars.
Yeah, that's just tiny, man. I used to give Zach shit all the time about his old Prius that he had.
Mm-hmm.
He had this freaking lame ass little Prius he'd drive everywhere. He had it for like 6 years, it was like 5 or 6 years he had this piece of garbage, and he'd drive it everywhere. I guarantee you he spent more on repairs to his Prius than I did on car payments my whole life. He was constantly, and he didn't even have a car payment on it.
Yeah.
But like the battery died like 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was constantly having to pick him up, driving to the dealership, and it was just miserable because he couldn't keep it running.
Mm.
You couldn't have paid him to keep that car running for a year and him still have money left over.
Well, you may have heard from Koch the Dodge Ram he had. So,
Yeah.
like all the shit he went through with it with the dealership and the repairs and stuff.
Yeah, they held on to his car for a while,
It
didn't
was
they?
like he would go. I think it was like 6 weeks one time, and they're like, "Oh, we got it fixed," and then get it back, and he's like, "No, you didn't." And then the last time, they locked the engine up because they drove it here. Oil pressure dropped, and they still just kept going.
No
and
way.
Locked the engine up. Yeah.
Jesus
And
Christ.
it's funny because I gave him shit all the time, and then I get this truck, and not even a month of having it, my check engine light come on, and it's burning oil. And my father-in-law, he's like, "Dude, if a year time you have it paid off," he was like, "the engine goes to shit." He's like, "Just put a new one in it." And I was like, "We're doing an LS swap on it." I'm putting an LS engine in a Silverado.
Yeah, he went through a tough time with that because I remember, we would all get up for Ranger Challenge and then meet up at the parking lot, and he would drive the dealership rental like every day over there, and it was a nice truck. He had a nice one. I don't know what his truck was originally though.
It was a Ram 1500. I can't remember. I think it was a Bighorn. So it had like the center console in the middle.
Oh,
yeah.
it
was pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're paying that truck payment, and you're driving a dealer truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really yours.
Yeah.
I get why it's frustrating.
Yeah, I definitely want mine. I will say though, having those rentals are pretty nice sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take my rental or my work truck to Ford to get it serviced for several weeks, and while they were doing that, they gave me like a 2024 F-150. I drove that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I drove it home for Christmas. I loaded up all my Christmas presents in it. It was insane, but yeah, I would much rather have that than that big ass shithole.
We took a beach trip. Me and him. We went fishing down in Atlantic with. I showed up in my Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, this is like 90 miles one way, and he's like, "Fuck that, we're taking the rental or the dealership truck to hop in. It's a F-150 Lariat." I was like, "All right, yeah, this is a big call."
Yeah. Do you fish much in the ocean?
I haven't fished. I fished more with Koch in the ocean than I ever have because that's what he likes to do. I like to fish more inland and like bass fish and the intercoastal type stuff.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about last time. He was saying that he didn't know he'd never done much bass fishing or brim or anything like that. It's like that's the only thing I ever did growing up, because we'd have these little rinky-dink ponds around my town and all that, and then or we trespass and go on someone else's pond, you know. But I mean,
not get caught.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a carpet or a catfish every once in a while. And that was the most exotic that we got, and he's out here catching freaking crazy ass fish.
Well, I mean, in Hawaii, that was right up his alley.
Yeah,
but yeah, I grew up catfishing, and if we caught a bass because we would only use the worms. My granddad never used chicken liver or anything like that. So bass would hit the worm sometime, but
yeah, catfishing's fun. I really enjoy something like that. That'll give you a little bit of a chase, you know, make it a little tough.
Yeah,
I love fishing those striped bass up at Roanoke.
Oh yeah,
those are really fun.
Yeah, my wife's aunt's husband, he runs a charter business, and we fished together a lot. And last time we went fishing, we did panfish. We caught like 60, 70 brim, but like it was just catch and release because he doesn't really want to eat that. And I mean, what am I going to do with 60 fucking fish? I don't want to clean that by myself.
Yeah, screw that. Did you get into that whenever you were like high school, or were you
bass fishing? Yeah, I really got into it in high school because I was a camp counselor over at Camp Seagull.
Okay.
And they had the golf course ponds and then the fishing ponds and stuff. And when you put a 10-year-old who's never fished before, don't know what they're doing, the bass kind of get used to it, and then someone who knows what they're doing, it's a different presentation. So that's when I got into it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What were you doing at Camp Seagull?
Camp Seagull.
Camp Seagull.
So that was my first job. So I was a camp counselor, and these parents, usually from Raleigh, like it's a rich kids camp.
Oh yeah.
And like one kid it was on drop-off day. His dad flew him in on the soccer field out there, landed in a helicopter, took his kid to the camp, and then just left. Like it's the craziest shit I've ever seen. And like I'm just a redneck.
Yeah.
So I didn't really fit in, and keep in mind I'm 16, giving these 10-year-olds life advice.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
It was funny. It was a fun time though. I enjoyed it.
So did you just do outside activities with them?
Yeah. So they put you in a certain sport. It's kind of like you put down your preferences of what you want. And I played on the golf team all through high school and middle school. So I wanted to be the golf instructor, and that's what they put me at during the day. That's what you do. You like teach kids to play golf, or you're sitting at the pro shop and you're signing, because they'll bring in their own golf bags with them, and you get them for them. Or you go walk the course and play with some of the kids. But that's what you do during the day, and then at night, like you're in charge of your own cabin kids. Which is pretty fun.
Yeah, I never did many camps like that, but I went to one. I can never remember what it was called, but I remember he was like one of the assistant counselors or something like that, and we were all having a pool party on the last day, and he was playing chicken, but he was on the bottom. Oh. And dude, this kid he wrapped his arms around him like John Jones. He was like cranking on his neck and shit. And then he got up after maybe about a minute of foolproof drowning, and then he got up just grabbing his neck. He's crying. I felt so bad for him. And then our camp counselor he was like Homer Simpson, dude. He was this old, bald dude. And he had these Looney Tunes underwear that he'd always wear. And, dude, all you could see, he like bend over and ball sack would hang right through the shorts on his fucking underwear.
So this camp, not a single building has AC other than like the headquarters where like the higher ups are sleeping and working and stuff. So it's all boys camp too. We have a sister camp like 10, 15 minutes away, and it's the same, no AC. So the guys are walking around. I spent a majority of that summer bare. The only piece of clothing I had on me was a pair of shorts. Like, same thing, like, dudes that sit down, you're like, hey, man, like, close your legs.
Got some bubble gum showing. Yeah, I used to get tripped out over there, man, because they'd they'd be like, "Oh yeah, here's your bunk beds," and I was just okay, bunk beds, whatever. And then I was like, man, these beds are pretty slick. I was like, I don't want to fall. I was like, do people ever fall off these things? They're like, no, totally safe. And then I look down, there's blood on the floor, like dried blood on the floor. I'm like, you're lying to me. Someone clearly almost had a freaking brain aneurysm right here, having internal bleeding through their freaking eyes and nose.
Oh,
And
my
you're sitting here
God.
telling me it's safe. So me, Zach, and my cousin were there. We all slept on one bed, but we turned sideways. so we were like sardines in there. But it was so weird, dude. This is the weirdest week of my life. I never want to do that again.
What's good and bad is that camp is 4 weeks long. So you're working 4 weeks with the same kids.
That's crazy.
Then there's like not even a week break, or I forgot how long the break was, and then you're rolling right into another 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And
That sounds awful.
it is miserable, miserably hot.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I can't do summertime, man. It hurts going out to my car right now. I gotta like shade my head because I'll get burnt, man. I don't. So Laurel will go out there, and she's in Philadelphia right now. She's not even home, but she'll go out every day with Olivia, and they'll just go out to the beach for hours or the pool for hours and tan. I'm like, dude, how are you doing that?
I've got to get in the water.
Yeah, and not only that, I wish it was like dark water so the sun's not hitting my lower body, because if I step out of that water for even a little bit, man, I'm fried.
Yep.
You just tossed me in a freaking batch of grease, man. It's insane. I can't do it. But she gets dark. I've never seen her burn. And she'll stay out there for hours. She doesn't even get in the water. It's dumb. It's dumb.
I worked out with Koch yesterday in his garage, and so we don't live too far from each other. I mean, same neighborhood. So I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just gonna run to your house. Did not know what we were about to do, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna do a little circuit. We're gonna do 3 rounds of this. I'm already sweating my ass off.
Hey,
It's
yeah.
so hot.
Yeah.
And then
How far is his house from yours?
It's about a mile.
Okay.
Well, if you take the short route, I think it's like a quarter of a mile, and then if you take the long route, it's 3/4 of a mile.
Okay.
And then, so I ran the long way to get there. We do 3 rounds. He's like, all right, let's run a mile. I was like, dude, I wish you'd have told me this. And then we come back, dying. We sweated through everything.
Yeah.
And then we do another 3 rounds. And I was like, hey, bud, I've already ran my mile on the way here.
You go on.
You go ahead. I'm going to walk back to the house.
Nice.
God, it was so hot.
Do y'all do that much? Like you meet up at his place and then do a circuit?
That was the first one that we had done together. He's been working out a week or two, and then I ain't gonna lie, I have not been dogging on the workout since school let out, but
I don't blame you,
I got to get back into it, especially the running in the heat.
dude.
That is awful.
It's miserable, man. I don't enjoy it. Like it's one running. I think that running can be very relaxing and almost like a meditation in good weather. But if you're out there in the heat, one, running sucks and by itself.
Yep.
2, you're going out there. It's 90 degrees outside. Everything is done. So last night, Laurel was leaving to get on the plane to Pennsylvania, so she wanted to hang out in Raleigh, and I was like, I guess we're not working out, and she's like, okay. So I didn't work out the entire day. I went home to my family and saw them for a little bit, and they went to sleep, and it was 10. I felt like shit. I was like, I gotta do something. So I went on this run outside, and it was 10 o'clock at night. Like, it was dark. There was no sun whatsoever, and I had to stop running because I had to shit so bad. I was about to shit my pants, and dude, so I ran in this just ran in this McDonald's last night. I didn't even have a shirt on. Sweat dripping all down. I freaking blew up their bathroom, but I got out and I started heading back home, and I was drenched. And it felt like I was running out in the heat, and it was maybe 70, like 68. It was pretty cool compared to what it is now, and I was still drenched in sweat.
Humidity.
Yeah,
is
dude.
terrible.
It was because it's so damn thick out here, dude.
Yep.
The air in North Carolina is so, like, you could almost chew the air out here. It's insane. That's the one thing that I noticed whenever we went to West Point a couple months ago, is that the air was just crisp.
Mhm.
I felt like I could breathe forever.
Yep.
And it was even a little hot outside. I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm just not affecting
Yep.
me. It doesn't hurt me. I came back. I got off the airplane. I was like, this sucks. I was like, I'm already back in this shit. I hate it.
That like Germany, the air was like that. It was
Really?
I guess it's thinner air because of the elevation and whatever, especially where we were. And then coming off the plane, it was I think we got back August the 2nd or 3rd. I was like, get back on. We're going back to Germany. This is bad. This
Yeah,
is
dude.
miserable.
Did you work any other jobs whenever you were in high school? Doing anything like that? Any
Worked
other
at
bullshit jobs?
the good old Piggly Wiggly.
Nice.
I was a bagger and a cashier after camp, and then worked at a little produce stand, Paul's Produce. Shout out Paul's Produce.
Hell yeah.
Over in Pamlico, and then he's the one that really got me into looking to join the military. He was a
Okay.
Coast Guard guy, and so I went to the Coast Guard station in Wilmington. They told me no.
What does that mean? They told you no.
They were like, "What's your ASVAB score?" I was like, "Oh, I took an ASVAB because I was an ROTC in high school,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like they made everybody take it. That was an
Yeah.
ROTC, and I was like just bubbling in fucking
Uh-huh.
answers. And I was like, I guess this is gonna be like a quick route, so I don't have to take it again. Fuck no, that was a terrible ASVAB score. They looked at it, they were like, "Yeah, no."
What'd you get?
I don't even remember. I think it was just enough to get it into the military, like just enough.
Yeah.
And then, but after, so like, I started going to different recruiting stations, and Paul's Produce is seasonal, so he shut down in September. I started working at Lowe's, worked at Lowe's for a year and a half as the tool salesman.
I've heard that's a good job.
Yeah, and it was all right. It's not bad, but pay is
Really?
less than desirable. I mean, it was above minimum wage. It was the
Yeah.
most I was making, but
Probably better than Bagger.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot better than Bagger.
Yeah. So Paul, this produce guy,
Mhm.
did you have any relationship to him prior?
No.
What
So
kind of influenced him to get you interested in the military?
So we, at the time, I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I was 18. Most 18-year-old kids don't know what they want to do.
Mm.
And I was looking into going to like agriculture or something, and no farms would take me. So
Huh.
yeah, and they're like,
What for?
I don't, just lack of experience,
Oh.
and then like I'm not from North Carolina, so like I
Oh.
don't have like family roots
Right.
here.
They didn't
So,
know your family.
Yeah, it's all about who you know in
Right.
small towns like that. And so I forgot who told me about him, but they were close with him. And he was like, "Yeah, tell him to come 8 a.m.
Mm.
Monday morning. You'll start your first day." And then I forgot when it had to be May or June. And then just as the summer progressed, he's like, "Giving any thought what you're going to do next?" And I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Military's always hiring, bud." Like, because I was like, well, you know, I'm in Navy or was in Navy ROTC. I thought about doing the Army or Marine Corps or something. And he's like, "Why would you do that?" He was like, "Coast Guard, beaches and babes or bullets and boots, which one do you want?" And I was like, "Beaches and babes sounds pretty good to me." But it is not all beaches
Not
and babes.
beaches and babes. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen. Not only I've never seen a female in the Coast Guard. I've never seen an attractive
No,
one.
no.
You know, every now and then you'll get the white whale in the Army that's like, okay, I can live with this. If you're my CEO, it's not too bad. And then there's some other ones I'm like,
Oh man,
I could pass. I'd probably rather have a really ugly dude right here.
it's so funny because in basic training, like everybody, you all look goofy as hell.
Yeah.
Everybody looks goofy.
Mm.
And then time goes on.
Yeah.
You know, they look a little more. But nah, everybody in basic in situations like, you know, even the field deployment and stuff, you all smell weird.
Yeah.
You're not showering.
You
like,
smell just like
I'm-
salt.
I don't even want to be around me right now. Like,
Yeah, dude. So how long after he started talking to you did you enlist? Did you just start hitting up recruiting offices, or
so the Coast, it would have been a lot sooner, but the Coast Guard requires
They didn't
the
want you.
past, yeah, the past 5 years of your medical history up front. So,
Oh.
like,
Damn.
and I had childhood asthma. My mom took me to the doctor for fucking everything. So I slapped down this thick ass War and Peace novel on the recruiter's desk, and he's like, not only does your ASVAB score suck, I'm not sifting through all this. We're not going through the gauntlet of getting waivers. And,
oh my gosh.
So I thought it was the same for every branch. So I rolled up to the Army office, and I went through 2 senior recruiter, like the top dog, top enlisted guy, and a handful of recruiters changed out before I finally shipped. And because I slapped down, the same paperwork, I was like, here's my medical history. And the guy immediately, I just saw his face change. And I know why now, because he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because they're obligated at that point. You disclose something, so they have to do it. But my waivers sat forever. It took from the time I started till the time I shipped. It was probably about a year, because it was long enough for me to meet Hannah. We dated for almost a year, and then we got married 2 weeks before I shipped.
Oh, so you met her before you left? That's crazy.
Yeah, we knew each other in middle school. She liked me. Didn't really want anything to do with her. And then one day she liked one of my pictures on Instagram, and I slid in her DMs.
Hell yeah, trap.
Yep.
You got to trap her.
But yeah, I told her I was because I was at the time I was working at Paul's Produce. I was dating her. I've been dating a girl for about a year, and she didn't want me to join the military. And I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. Either be with me or not. Yeah. So that fizzled out. And then whenever I met Hannah, I was like, look, I'm joining the military. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm giving you the option now, run or stay. But yeah, she stayed. So that was, I'd say it was like a year and a half before I actually shipped, though.
And how old were you whenever you actually left?
I was 19.
Okay.
I turned 20. So I finished basic March 23rd of 2017, and then I went to AIT at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then no, not Fort. Now it's Fort Gregg Adams, but it was Fort Lee. And then went to Bragg and was there for 2 weeks, and then I shipped to Jordan for my first deployment.
Nice. I couldn't imagine the look on your recruiter's face slapping down this freaking whole ass book.
Oh yeah.
They used to tell me, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, I got a big ass cut on my finger right here. My cousin shot me with a pellet gun when I was a kid. The doctor said it was like taking out a chunk of bones. They had to get in there and do surgery and get the thing out and all that. And but he asked me, he's like, what really happened with this, my recruiter? And I told him, and he was like, all right. He's like, we're gonna wrap this up to laceration, no stitches. And he's like, no loss of function, right? And I was like, well, I couldn't move my finger for a couple years, but we're doing good now. And he's like, okay, good enough for me. And
that one little thing with handing them my medical records taught me, don't say shit.
Don't ever say anything.
Don't say anything. Especially whenever I knew I was going to do this green to gold packet, they were like, have you ever had asthma? Nope. It doesn't affect me now, so why is it relevant?
Yeah.
It's just another waiver that I have to get that's probably going to get denied.
Oh yeah.
And then, I had my knee. I had knee surgery. That was only thing I put on the packet because that happened in the military, and they have records of it. So
how was that? That sounds like it sucks. What'd you need it for? What'd you do?
So I was in the motor pool at Bragg, and we were working on, I think it was a fueler or a Hemet, one of the bigger trucks. We had it on jacks the airbags, and I was reaching under to grab the jack stand because we were done with it, and I had my right arm resting on the tire, and I leaned in awkward, and the tire rotated, and when it rotated, it shifted all that weight, and it just popped out of place.
Oh my gosh.
And then that no one knew what it, because whenever it happened, my immediate thing was I fell back on the ground and straightened my leg back out and popped it back in, and I didn't know that, and it it felt like whenever you take a chicken wing and you just snap it in half at the joint, but I thought I broke my leg. Womack, in their infinite wisdom, couldn't figure out what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And but it was an SF guy. He was a surgeon. He looked at it about a month later. He's like, I know exactly what happened. I've seen this before. You dislocated your kneecap. I'm going to refer you out to a surgeon. I don't want anybody here touching your knee.
Yeah.
But knee surgery wasn't bad. The recovery sucked though.
Could you walk at that point?
I could walk. A month after I could walk, I couldn't run though. Like
really?
if I had to run, if I was getting chased by a bear, I'd have been 8. Yeah, because I was a gazelle before. Like I was really quick, and then that kind of did me in after. Now I'm a low speed, high drag kind of guy because I didn't take recovery seriously, like rehab and stuff.
How was that? Like once you finally got out of surgery and what they tell you had to do? How long was the recovery?
The recovery, they said it wouldn't take too long, but as long as I did the rehab right. But I was rehabbing. I was doing, whenever I go to rehab, I would work my ass off, and then it'd send me home with stuff. And then I'd get home, and I've got baby Maverick, toddler Lily, Hannah. Like, that got pushed to the side. So that made it take longer. I mean, even now, if I run 2 days in a row, or like we do a 3-mile, because we were doing 3-mile runs every Tuesday this past semester.
Yeah.
Do fucking Wednesday, my shit's like a cantaloupe. It's just blown up. I'm having to take ibuprofen.
Damn.
But I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. I may have to have knee replacement at some point in my life.
Like a TKR?
Yeah.
Screw that. Yeah, I had a boss who had a TKR. She said it was terrible.
I don't want to do that.
Nah, I wouldn't want you to either. About a year ago, no, this was maybe about 8 months ago. I was do you need another one?
Appreciate it.
Maybe it was about 8 months ago. I don't know what it was. All of a sudden, I think it was my left knee. It was difficult for me to stand up and go to the kitchen to go get some Aleve.
Yep.
And because I don't know, I had no idea what it was. I had done all this running. I was like, maybe it's an overuse injury. But I was like, it's weird because my right knee doesn't hurt, and maybe I just pulled something or whatever. And then I noticed maybe 4 months after all this pain that so I pop my knees pretty regularly, but I had recently just started switching, popping my knee instead of to the inward. I'd started popping it outward, and I just didn't know. To me, I was just popping it, but as soon as I stopped popping my knee outward, it stopped hurting. I could run again, I could lift again, I could do everything in it, and I was freaking praying for a miracle because I needed something to happen because I never had any crazy injuries. I've always been pretty smart, and I was like, with lifting and everything, I was like, how is this happening to me? But thank God I figured that shit out.
What sucks, two things that suck about that happening was for so long they were just like, you're fine, keep working on it, like going to rehab, because they didn't even put me in for an MRI until like a month after it happened. They were just sending me to rehab on Womack.
That's crazy.
So if I had torn an ACL, I mean, I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, the joint, if it goes untreated for a certain amount of time, like it just kind of spreads apart. Or,
that sounds right.
But so for that, the past, what's it been, 5 years, my right knee has been making up for the slack in my left, and now my right knee is fucked. And then
it's compensating too much.
Yep. So whenever I go to like deadlift, I can deadlift more. I know I can deadlift more, but my knees, they like, it's like Jello, and I don't want that shit to snap in half.
Yeah. Oh God. Especially, have you ever seen those videos of the guys on leg raise? They're what's it called? He like hyperextends it. God.
On the leg press.
Yeah. God, dude, that sounds awful.
I
think I'd rather die.
Let the weight slam.
Yeah. Oh, here's my neck. Take it this time.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I'll do the shit upside down. Yeah. No. I've always been, and that was why I've always been super cautious. So me, our dad was super good with teaching us good form, and we've always been good with stuff like that because I mean our dad's the prime example. My dad's hurt himself so many times lifting, and herniated discs. He's pulled shit, torn shit, and I was
Yep.
like, I'm never gonna end up like that, dude. So, I mean, ever since I've stopped when it hurts, and I do something else, and then that's kind of gotten me through. But man, dude, seeing some people, especially with injuries like that, like what you're talking about, I couldn't imagine.
I don't know the difference a lot of times, especially when like working out, between pain and discomfort.
Yeah.
Like when you should stop. And I was deadlifting. I had been in Germany not even a full year, and I was deadlifting in the gym, and I was like starting to really feel it, and I was like, fuck it, I'll do one more rep.
Yeah.
And I went up, and I was like, ooh, this is really hot. Something's really not right. And then
Yeah.
I put the weight down, and I bulging disc in my back.
Oh god, dude.
Military doesn't know about that.
Neither does my green to go back. Yeah. So then, yeah, that's super insane, man. I usually define it as kind of like a discomfort. To me is more of a burn, and then pain is like a sharp pain, because I can usually feel it whenever my knees or my ankles or something aren't warmed up. Maybe I didn't do enough warm-up sets, or maybe I didn't stretch long enough, or whatever, and I kind of feel a little sharp pain. But if I warm up a little bit longer, I start to get the burn instead of the needles.
Yep.
And I'll shoot for the burn every day instead of that shit, man. My freaking chest is sore as shit right now, honestly. But yeah, did you work out much in high school? I know you said you were fast. Did you do anything like that?
I've just always been like a $140 soaking wet. So like I was the people that we all talk shit about, like the APF2, like
Oh,
you got
yeah.
this really skinny guy who's
Yeah.
I would always have like 270, 280,
Uh-huh.
290, and because I could do push-ups, I could max out sit-ups, and I'd max run. But in high school, no, because the only time I ever really lifted in high school was I think it was sophomore and junior year. I started doing workouts for football because my history teacher was the head football coach.
Okay.
And that's really the only time I lifted. My football dreams didn't last very long. The first time we put on pads, I don't know why. They always line the really skinny guy up against the biggest dude on the team. And I mean, he rocked my shit. And I was like, I do not belong out
What
here.
they do that for?
I don't know. It was like the Oklahoma drill type shit.
Yeah.
No, hell no.
That is hilarious.
Just waxed me. I got up and I was like, yeah, this is my last day. this is it.
That's so funny. Me and Zach, our dad always used to talk us about weightlifting, so we were super excited when we got to high school to actually get in a weightlifting class as like our elective. And I remember I had a pretty good time doing it. I was dumb. That's how I injured both my shoulders in high school.
Yep.
And one of them was with wrestling, and one of them was with lifting weights. But I was an idiot in both of them. But that was kind of where I got the feel for it. But our curriculum only had so many weightlifting courses that you could take. By the time I had gotten to my sophomore or my junior year, I had taken all of the electives for weightlifting, so I wasn't gaining any more credits by taking them. So I had to go into the football weightlifting classes so that I could go lift weights at school. I tell you what, though, man, as much as I lifted weights and as much as I loved working out, I didn't know how to work out. You know, they don't teach you shit when you're in high school. They just teach you what you think you know.
Yeah, they just put a routine on the board and they're like, go for it.
Yeah. That's why I can't stand people who are like, oh, yeah, my coach taught me when I was in high school. I'm like, you fucking you stop this shit. But as much as I did all that, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was slow. I was slower than anybody you ever met. I could not figure it out. It was not until I got to college that I even started to gain really any sort of fitness level, in my opinion, because I had lifted I lifted since I was 14, but I wasn't very strong, not super strong now, wasn't fast then, like so I was kind of running off of what I thought I had. And then I got humbled, dude. Everywhere I went, every competition I did, every event, every 5K, turkey trot, whatever, I got dusted. And that was whenever I started actually running, because my dad was so fast. My dad could probably still dust me if he wanted to. He's about to be 42, you know. But
The only time I ever, I ran a lot in high school. It wasn't like track and field or cross country. They would run the shit out of those kids in cross country. I was like, nah, they ain't. But I like in ROTC, we'd run around the track at football for workouts, and then where I lived, I could also. We were in like a town that well paved sidewalks and stuff, so I just go run 3 or 4 miles. And but the running wasn't ever the issue. I just could never put on weight.
Yeah,
I couldn't put on weight until I think whenever we were out in Poland. I weighed like 170, 175 before I left.
Okay.
And I came back. I was lifting like 3 hours a day, eating a shit ton of food.
Yeah.
And I came back at like 196.
Nice.
Super. That was like the biggest I've been. But the running.
Yeah, well, you're tall too. You probably should be 196.
Yeah. That's what sucks. Is like you got to. My metabolism was it so fast. It's fast.
Yeah.
So I just can't put it. I can't put it on or keep it on.
Yeah.
But eating is such a chore.
Like,
when you're eating that much food to keep that much weight or put on weight, it sucks.
Yeah, that's the problem with gaining weight is that, I mean, people probably think that it's all you got to do is eat, but eating is tough, man. Especially whenever you're in a surplus. You're a big guy, you got to eat a lot of food to put on mass. I mean, you probably have to eat like 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day. That's insane. That's so much food, and not to mention if it's lean. You know?
We had an all-you-can-eat buffet at the hotel we were staying at.
Oh, nice.
So I would eat that for dinner. Lunch, I would we'd go somewhere and eat. Like it was nothing to go put away. Well, I mean, you eat a lot of sushi.
Yeah.
At that point, I could put away a lot of rolls. And then, like a midnight snack, I would get a foot-long sub from Subway. In the hotel.
Damn, dude. You're balling.
And then breakfast, like a protein shake or whatever. But it was a chore. That much food.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen anybody yet beat my record at Q Sushi. 52 rolls was my my record so far.
I was telling Hannah we were eating there one time. I was like, I don't know how the fuck Warren can eat 52 rolls. Like I had maybe 4 or 5, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting pretty full right now.
I get starving, man. I'm so hungry. But whenever you were in high school, whenever you actually got into the military and graduated, is that whenever you kind of realized you were fast?
Because there's a lot of people who hadn't even run a mile before.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like I had
a lot of people who thought they wanted to serve.
Yep, and then they get there and they can't continuously run a mile, more or less meet a time hack. So like they would split us up in A, B, and C group, and do A group. I thought I was gonna be top dog. No, they broke that shit off in there. Like it was rough.
It was like A, B, and C, and then there's like 3 tiers within A group.
I would like my first PT test. I had a 13:10 2-mile, and then the last one was a 12:45.
Nice.
And my drill sergeant, she was like, "Gotta be faster, private."
What
I
the
was like, dude, I maxed it out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, that's insane, man. One thing that I wish I could do that you were talking about doing is that some of my hip flexors, I don't know if it's that they're not strong enough or if I just have weak hip flexors in general, but I can't do sit-ups like that.
Yeah.
They hurt. I just can't do it. I do crunches. It's a little bit different, but whenever it's something like that where it's fully dependent on my hip flexors, it's pretty difficult for me to do it.
Yeah, sit-ups. I think I would take doing sit-ups over doing the plank.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
That's crazy.
I would definitely take the leg tuck over the plank any day.
I could always get 19. I can never get 20 on the leg tuck.
Leg tucks were who can't get one leg tuck?
Women. I tell you can't do it. 90% of the women and maybe 15% of the males.
One leg tuck.
You could see some freaking fat ass E7 out there still get a leg tuck. You know what I mean? If that dude can do it, this 80-year-old sergeant major can go out here and do a leg tuck. Okay, it probably should be standard.
He's gonna struggle a little bit, but he's gonna get it.
Yeah, dude. I never understood that, man. It was so I could just never max it. It pissed me off. I could never. I felt like I got in worse shape in basic training because I got there and I was probably mediocre shape. I thought I was hot shit, but
same.
I was slow as fuck, and I felt like I got slower by the end because they were running us so much that
Yep.
my legs couldn't recover. I was so tired every day. I felt like it was getting worse. And then I didn't want to be embarrassed and go to B group for the running, so I was like, I'm just gonna go to A group. I'm gonna hang with them. And then I was like, that was a bad idea. How was you went to basic in Fort Jackson though?
Yep.
What was that?
It was good.
It's integrated, right? Males and females.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it was before, so it was 2017. We had males and females. Living down this hill, any time you have to go to a military school like that, wintertime,
Yeah.
100%.
1,000%.
This is why I'm not looking forward to CST.
No.
It's so fucking hot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I froze.
Yeah.
But I'd rather put more layers on than like there's only so many clothes you can take
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, especially like obviously basic training, they're pretty lame with the rules. But
Yeah.
I mean, you go out training somewhere, I can put on as many layers as I want. You know, so that's why I enlisted June 26th of 2021 or 22 or whatever, and it was actually the day before Bottom's birthday, but I could have gone right then. They're like, when do you want to go? I was like, well, it's pretty fucking hot right now. And not to mention, I got to sit in Georgia for 6 months.
Yeah, no.
I was like, I said October. I want to go in October. So I shipped October 5th. I waited like 6 months to go, or I guess 4 months to go. And it was the best decision I ever made because it was fall.
Yep.
But I mean, it was nice. It was like 60 degrees every day. It was whatever. I mean, there were days where it was 20, but I feel way better than. Because it would have been like this every day. It would have been 90 every single day out there, just like it's going to be at CST. It's going to blow.
I can't speak on like Ranger School or any of the schools like that. Like I feel like it's gonna
Like a selection
suck
school. Yeah.
anytime you go, no matter when you go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if you're like basic or like some training time, fall, winter, 100% best time.
There's
to
way
go.
less bugs.
Yep.
You know,
Snakes.
You're
You don't
not
have to worry about snakes.
Yeah. You're not sucking down all that humidity during the PT test. You're not sweating your ass off everywhere. I'd rather my sweat freeze to me than drip down my face and all that. It was better to me, but
Can't sleep.
yeah, I could sleep in the cold. It was cold, but I was shivering my ass off. But I could do it.
But the thing that sucked the most of basic in the wintertime is, I mean, obviously they don't want you to put your waffle tops or silk tops on, so you're wearing just your regular plain Jane OCPs. And you're just out there jackhammering out a foxhole, like, freezing to death.
Yeah.
But
How different was that? Because I didn't do it in Fort Jackson. How different was that? Do you think from combat MOS basic training?
So my senior drill sergeant was a Cav Scout.
Okay.
Ranger tabbed, been to Iraq, Afghanistan. Like he'd been in a hot minute, and he was super fucking hard on us because we weren't combat MOSs. And I had a couple infantry drill sergeants. One, once he put in his SFAS packet, I'm assuming that's what he did because he was on the trail with us, and then he kind of fizzled out, and you would see him like doing long runs or like long rucks, and I just didn't see him again after that.
No.
And then, but we got shit on pretty good. I mean, but like, it wasn't in a bad way. Like, it wasn't like hazing because we weren't combat MOSs. We had a good mix of people, like some mechanics, 88 mics. We had one dude that was going for the Army band in another platoon. I don't know if he made it or what, but
it's cool.
Just like a good mix of different MOSs. And then we had a Cav Scout drill sergeant. I think she was a 92 Yankee, so supply. And then the other guy, he was field artillery, and he like injected that shit into his veins. He was all about field artillery. But it wasn't, I mean, they taught us all the 10 level tasks, but it wasn't like the wedge and movement to contact and
It was like fire drills or battle drills.
Yeah, like whenever we'd cover the battle drills, it wasn't as intense as I'm assuming it was for you because like that's your job.
Right.
They're just like introducing it to us for a few reps, get everybody through. All right, move on to the next block of instruction. Like,
yeah, I would say that probably 90% of what we did was patrols.
Mm-hmm.
You do like the buddy team thing, but they kind of treated that like this chore.
Yeah.
I got to get through buddy team, and then we can go do lanes, you know, and then
Yep.
we can go do a battle drill 1 or anything like that, and then
Mhm.
we spent all fucking day on battle drill 1 and do all, all this dumb shit.
We didn't do shit for patrolling. So
Really?
the first FTX we had, we just dug Hasties. We did Fire Guard. They taught some classes, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Forge, we dug, obviously that big ass fighting visit or foxhole, and then just froze to death.
Mhm.
Like we'd sit out there, do some classes, get smoked every now and then. It wasn't too bad, and then we did the 12-mile ruck after that. But we didn't do any type of patrolling or nothing like that.
Assuming that was the first crazy thing that you did, basic training, was it like a culture shock? How was it whenever you actually got there off the bus?
So the way I was talked to as a kid, it wasn't a culture shock. Like I was used to people like yelling,
Mhm.
talking to me, like, you know, whenever you do something stupid, like dad gets into your
Yeah.
ass, like that's what I was used to. So it wasn't terrible. It was overwhelming to a certain extent. I think the most overwhelming was reception.
Yeah, I
Like-
hated that shit.
Oh my god, it was fucking terrible. And then Black Friday was pretty. This is whenever like
Black
they still-
Friday?
yeah, they still did the shark attacks and shit.
Oh.
And that they or supposedly got rid of it now.
Nah, they
But
didn't.
I would be surprised if they did. But those two were pretty much the only like really culture shock moments.
Mhm.
And then after that, it was just like keep your head down.
Mhm.
They didn't know who I was until like 3 or 4 weeks in, and then they were like, "Who the fuck are you?" and then I got smoked for it. I'm like, "You see me every day."
That's funny. Yeah. So I remember whenever I enlisted, they're like, "Yeah, the shark attack's done. You know, all that stuff is considered hazing now. They don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
That they get fired if they do that." I was like, "Whatever." Okay. And then I got to basic, and you know they got off the bus. They're screaming at you or whatever, and then. The only difference was they take you in the bay to do it, so that
Mhm.
not everyone can't see you. Like you're in the bay. They do the shark attack in the bay. You're holding your shit above your head. It's all stupid.
Yeah, we did that at the platoon area, like regular old shark attack. We did it outside, and then they brought us up in the bay and smoked the piss out of us for hours. It felt like I'm literally just rolling around in a puddle of my sweat in the bay because it's wintertime.
Yeah.
It wasn't super cold outside, but they still had the heat on inside.
Ah.
Oh my god, that was shocking.
Yeah. It motivate you whenever you hear the bay is above you and below you getting
Yep.
fucked up. You're like, it's coming.
Here it
I
comes.
remember waking up on my very first day. They had the blowhorn.
Yes.
Get the blowhorn
Oh
in there.
my
Like, get
God.
the fuck. I was like, oh.
we went through daylight savings time while I was in basic, and none of us knew it. Like they didn't tell us or anything because like you have no connection to the
Yeah.
outside world. Like you don't have a calendar or nothing that says,
Yeah.
"Hey, tomorrow's daylight savings time," and we're thinking it's 4 a.m. when we're thinking it's 3 a.m. Yeah, we're thinking it's 3 a.m. Like we're just
Uh-huh.
chilling, sleeping. All of a sudden, doors kick open from the fire escape to come in with blowhorns.
Oh
I'm like,
my gosh.
what the fuck are y'all still doing asleep? And then another thing that for us, private news network or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, on this day, they can't cuss at us anymore. And I was like, I don't know about that one, Chief. And then the day comes, they walk in, they're like, hey, everybody get the fuck up. They just start tearing into us. And I was like, yep, I knew that was a lie.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you finish your. Well, what is it for regular basic? It's still 3 months.
Was it 10 weeks? I think it was 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you headed to Fort Lee for mechanic training.
Yep.
Were you just with generator mechanics or?
Yeah. So that's my specialty job MOS title, but we work on everything. Like I pulled so many Humvee engines and HVAC stuff. So I think they just need to combine those three together. But yeah, I went. Let's see. I left. We had a graduation or family day graduation. signed us out graduation day. I got to stay the night at my parents' house. And then the next day, Hannah drove me to Fort Lee. I checked in. They gave me like a 3-day leave because it was a weekend or pass. And then we hung out around Virginia for 3 days. And then I started. And that's 10 weeks long too.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a holdover for like another, it felt like a month.
Oh.
Like we finished in June, I want to say. And then I left Fort Lee late July or mid-July and showed up at Bragg.
How were they just teaching you, regular shit on generators, or were they teaching you everything?
It is the most. It's the biggest waste of time, honestly. The biggest waste of time. Like they could shorten that into like 5 weeks, and you because 10 weeks, they're just drawing it out. They're drawing all the simple 10 level shit out.
Mm.
They're not teaching you like pulling an engine, changing a rate. Like you have to figure that shit out on your own, or like in the manual.
It probably would be beneficial if they did kind of like what they're doing with the logistics. They just pull all these branches into one.
Yep.
But
I agree.
Yeah. Then you finally got to Bragg, and then you geared straight up for deployment.
Yep. I showed up. I don't know when it was in July. It was probably late July, but I didn't even know what unit I was going to. I showed up at Bragg, and they were like, "What unit are you?" I was like, "I have no fucking idea." And like I'll never. This is my first time seeing a set of orders, and they're like, 18th Airborne Corps Field Artillery. I was like, hell yes, I'm gonna go to airborne school. I'm gonna be in a combat unit.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do shit. End up at air defense, and was not very impressed. And so my sponsor comes and gets me, and she's like, follow me to the footprint.
Yeah.
I show up to brigade, sign into brigade. They're trying to figure out if I'm going to 1-7 or 3-4. So brigade building was in the middle, and then 1-7 and 3-4 were on either side.
Mm.
And they're like, hey, just so you know, like, we're deploying. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm going to be rear D. And they're like, no, you're not. I was like, I just got here. And they're like, okay, cool. And then, so I go over to 1-7 into the battalion headquarters, and they're like, hey, we got this fucking new guy here. We need to get him on orders, like, get him on a plane as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even have a house right now. I'm supposed to have like some house hunting time, like 10 days at least.
Yeah.
And they're like, how do you know that? I was like, because I know, like, my recruiter was actually a really cool dude. Like, he's helped me out some. And they let me find a house. They're like, hey, you're going to Jordan. It's just funny. They're like, either you're going to go to UAE or Jordan. And I was like, well, what's the difference? And they're like, Jordan is like a combat deployment, so you'll get more money, but UAE is nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's Middle East. Like, how nice are we talking?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, well, there's some like Lambos and Ferraris parked down on the side of the road. If you want to grab one, you can ship it back. And I was like, that sounds cool. And looking back, I'm like, no, that is the dumbest shit. They're just messing with me. But yeah, I had like 2 weeks, and then I was on a C7. No, I was on a bus to Maryland. Flew out of Maryland to Germany, then Germany to Qatar. Hung out in Qatar for like a week, trying to get clearance to go into Jordan. And then I started the transition over into Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 8 months and some change of being there.
How was that?
It was, I think everybody should, if you have the opportunity to deploy, I don't know why people try to get out of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're there for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the experience.
Yeah, I learned a ton about my job because like air defense runs on generators, so that's all I was doing. Like we were on, I think we worked every day pretty much for the most part, and then we'd have like a day off or something in between. But it was a really good experience. I got to go to Petra. That was fun. That was like the one time I ever left the base.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was your? Do you know what your brigade or your battalion's mission set was over there?
So, for Jordan, we were on. It's called MSAB, Jordan. So it's a joint air base. So it's like an American base on a huge Jordanian air base.
Mm-hmm.
You're there with Germans. You're there with Germans. some other people. But so that's like the biggest air base in the Middle East, like strategically placed, so we could hit Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria.
Right.
Like we're right on the Syrian border.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to like knock down any incoming missiles that were threatening the base or whatever. Because this is whenever Syria was gassing their fucking people with chlorine gas and shit. So I mean that was very interesting.
You get to see missiles get knocked out.
So the only time I've ever seen a missile get knocked down was they were doing a training mission, and we roll up to because you leave the main base where we slept at, take this like 7 mile road to a fob that these National Guard guys are guarding.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where all the launchers were for the missiles.
Yeah.
And I show up, I'm on this road. My God. I'm on the road right about to get to the fob, and you see this like streak in the sky. And I was like, oh fuck,
it's happening.
It's go time. I like show up, we run, I'm running to where the radar is, where the guys are sitting in a truck. I forgot what they call it, but they're sitting in the truck. I'm beating on the fucking door. And the guy opens it, and I was like, do you see the missile? And they're like, what missile? We're on a training mission right now. I was like, brother, it's real life right now. And then it just like fizzled out somewhere or blew up in midair.
Oh, damn.
That's the only time I got to see anything. It's funny because we were in like the combat deployment, but the dudes in UAE were knocking down missiles from that were coming from Yemen.
Oh.
So they were getting all the fun, and we were not.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think I would shit my pants if I was just like, la-di-da, I see a fucking missile flying through the sky.
And it's even funnier too because whenever I was getting ready to leave for deployment, I had all my CIF shit from Bragg, but I didn't get plates. They're like, your unit will give it to you. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
They like you take your deployment orders. You go to was it RF? No, not RFI. Is it RFI? I forgot. But they give you your plates. My unit still had M16s. I left later than they did, so they had taken all the M16s with them. I didn't have a weapon assigned to me. They only took weapons for the people that they had on that deployment. Yeah. That had already left. So it didn't account for me. I had no weapon, no plates, no gas mask.
Oh my gosh.
And we had one time, like, over the loudspeaker, they'll call fireball, and 9.9 times out of 10, it's just a drill.
Yeah.
But the one time, like, you just kind of get used to it. And they're like, fireball, fireball. My maintenance sergeant, she comes out running. She's like, it's not a drill. It's the fucking real thing. So we, like, take off to the bunker. Everybody's got their kit, their gas mask and shit, and I'm just sitting there with nothing.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, y'all really think that's going to help you? A missile comes right and hits us in this base. This is a casualty collection point. This is going to do nothing for us.
This is just one big mascow we got huddled up. That's hilarious.
I don't even know why we had rifles, though, because where we were at, like, the bottom of this. It wasn't a valley because it was flat land back behind us. But to the left or to the back of the base, there's this huge mountain range. And it would be like shooting fish in a barrel if it did come to that.
It's like the outpost.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, it wouldn't have come to that, but.
Yeah.
Because the National Guard guys, they had, guard shift, and they had some, like, building where they could see the ridgeline and everything with heat signatures. But, yeah, they would have been caught before that.
Yeah. I've seen some people. So some people from my unit I believe they went to Jordan at some point. A lot of them said that it wasn't bad. They said that they liked it. But I just can't stand doing anything with the people that just want to get out of everything.
Yep.
Oh, I don't want to go on this deployment. I want to do this training mission, this FTX.
I thought it was just like a joke that people would get pregnant to get out of deployments. I showed up after my unit left, and I'm on rear D waiting to deploy too. There's like 15, 20 pregnant women waddling to PT every day. I was like, bro.
That is insane.
And it's not like it's not like it was a QRF deployment or anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was a scheduled rotation.
Yeah,
so
just
they
a
knew it
rotational
was coming. I'm like,
That is insane. I couldn't imagine. Just couldn't imagine seeing. This is the Army. Like you are here to do this. This is your job. You signed up to deploy.
Yep.
And not to mention your active duty. Why don't you just go guard? Why don't you go national? Why don't you go reserve? They don't even have combat MOSs in the reserve.
God, it drove me crazy. Like I thought it was a joke, and I
Yeah.
see it for the first time. And I was like, damn.
Jeez, and that was at Bragg.
Yeah.
So-
I'm a private, and I'm like looking at these sergeants,
Yeah.
staff sergeants that are just dodging this deployment, and I was like, y'all are shitbags.
Fucking losers, man. I couldn't be that dude, man. But the you did eventually get to go to airborne school, right?
Yeah. So
Because you were on Bragg.
I re-enlisted for airborne school
Oh.
because my first sergeant at the time, after we got back from that deployment, he was like, you can run good, you can ruck. He was like, you're in shape. I want to send you to airborne school. Just put your packet up. Sent my packet up, nothing. Sent my packet up, nothing. And then like we're getting airborne slots. Like schools NCOs are a hidden gem. You need to make those people your friend, especially
Yeah.
like if you're going to be an officer or something. But I didn't know how it worked, so I just would send my packet up to my squad leader, and it would go to the platoon sergeant's office, and it probably just died there.
Mm-hmm.
But we had slots come down. That first sergeant took an airborne slot. I was like, you dirtbag. But finally, I just went to retention. I was like, there's no re-enlistment bonuses for me. I didn't get an enlistment bonus or any like re-enlistment bonus because the only ones for my job are 75th or 160th. And
damn.
but
It's a hard knock life.
yeah, that, and if you go and you fail RASP or you fail like the green platoon, which I mean, I don't know if you really can, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to take the risk. You don't get the money because you're
Yeah.
not like you re-enlisted for that slot, but you still have to serve the year commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I just want to do airborne, and I want to go to 7th group in Florida or 3rd group here at Bragg.
Yeah.
Or 80. I was like, I don't give a shit. I just want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, all right, cool. Went to airborne school, came back. Immediately, they were like, hey, you're going to Germany. I was like, I didn't fucking ask to go to Germany. Though. This was not in my re-enlistment. But airborne school is one of those schools, too, that should be condensed because it's 3 weeks long.
Yeah.
I showed up in March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So COVID's like kicking off for us. It was a Friday. Spent the weekend there. Monday, they did the PT test. Once they called out everybody, then they're like, hey, COVID's happening.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to train this week. We're going to do ground week, tower week, and then we're throwing you out of plane on Tuesday. I was like, oh. Looking back, like, there's only so many times you can fall on the ground practicing before, like, you're just ready to do the real thing.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I never understood about it. Well, I guess I understand it. One thing that I would have disliked heavily about it, just falling every day over and over.
My body hurt so bad. And I showed up with shin splints, too. So, and then the running everywhere.
Yeah. You had to run with your ACH on as well, right? Is that a thing?
Did we? I can't remember. Yeah. I mean, you run everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Even at training, from chow. And then you go to chow hall. You got to do these pull-ups before you can go in. And then you eat. Then immediately after you're running, or after you eat, you're running. So people are throwing up. It's hot. Like,
yeah. I've always been told that the most miserable part of airborne school is whenever you're rigged up waiting to get on the plane. How long is that?
So they wake you up. Was it like 4 or 5 in the morning? Maybe. And then you do accountability. Then you run from the barracks all the way down to the rigger shed. Or the pack shed.
How far is that?
It was like 2 miles, 2.5, whatever. But you're in OCPs and like everything you need to jump. And people are fucking falling out.
Yeah.
Like, but then you get there, you do pre-jump. So all your like little you gotta practice like you're shadow boxing it, and then they put you in like you're practicing jumping out of the airplane, and then they feed you. I didn't eat anything. I was so fucking nervous the first day.
Well, you didn't want shit, and then
no, I just like I was so nervous and terrified that like I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
But then they bring you in the where you're all sitting at.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, go get a chute and a reserve. You run, grab that, heavy as shit. You're like, you're already tired.
Yeah.
And you're running back with that. They get rigged up. They JMPI you. They're like, hey, just hang out, and they won't let you talk for whatever reason. Like I don't know why they wouldn't let us talk. So you're sitting there watching either like Band of Brothers, or they'd play the fucking old airborne like recruitment ad over and over and over.
It's a little cult they have over there.
Yes, it is beat into you. And then you're sitting, you can hear the plane get there, and the like revs the engine up, and they're like, oh, cab's here. This chalk and stick go, or this chalk get up.
Uh-huh.
And they walk you out. So you're sitting rigged up at least 2-3 hours.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it can even be longer if like we had really good weather,
Mm-hmm.
so we were able to jump 2 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And but if it's like raining in the morning, they'll
Mhm.
fucking keep you there rigged up, can't piss, can't talk,
Yeah.
like until the rain or weather subsides.
Right.
Or they'll keep you there all day. It won't subside, and then they just scratch the jump.
Screw that, man. That sounds awful.
It's fun, but the Army makes everything fun.
That's how whenever you were actually, your first time actually jumping out, what did you think?
Absolutely fucking terrible.
Really?
Like
Did your body not want you to jump out?
No, I mean my body took over, my mind didn't.
No.
So, or like stand up, hook up. I'm like we're racetracking, so we're just doing nap of the earth, waiting for the winds to die down so we can jump. And the girl behind me, I'm already motion sick. I'm like, if I can just get out of this plane, I'll throw up in the air. I don't care. But the girl behind me, she throws up on the back of my boots.
Oh my god!
It triggers a chain reaction.
Oh my
I'm
gosh!
Just like, I'm hurting bad. And then finally they opened the door.
Did you throw up?
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! I was pinching a penny trying not to throw up. And then once somebody behind me did it, I was like, here it comes.
Oh my gosh!
That was the softest landing I've ever had though. Like it. I think the first jump was probably the best jump because you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Then you get sucked out like a fucking cracker in between the couch when you're vacuuming. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a soft landing. The next one, we did 2 jumps that day. The next one, I like landed weird on my ribs. That knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then the third, I don't remember jump 3 or 4. But that was the next day. And then my fifth and final jump. So they've got, some classes will have like, mine had 2 PJ dudes going through their pipeline. So they needed this for free fall. Free fall was next. And this is big Southern Cal dude, like surfer, real chill, easygoing guy. And he had jumped behind me, a couple people behind me. But my chute had opened, and I look beside me, like, check canopy, look below you. This dude's just, like, pummeling to the earth in a cigar hole.
Holy
and I
shit.
see him looking up, and he's squinting his eyes. I'm like, pull your reserve, pull your reserve. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to watch this dude die. So I just, like, put my head up, and then I was like, I got to see what happens. I look back down, and his reserve just goes, poop, and then he hits the ground. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and after that, like, that chill, cool guy,
Yeah.
he was shook. He
Oh
was
my
like, I don't want
gosh.
to do this anymore.
So he did he get injured?
No. Hey, I don't
Really?
know how. He hit like a sack of shit. Like, I don't know how he didn't get injured.
Oh my gosh.
I hit weird because like that flustered me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucking already nervous.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember.
Probably made you feel real safe about landing.
Yeah. I'm checking my wind direction. I'm going this way, so I pulled the riser, and I couldn't make up my mind which way I wanted to turn my body because I forgot. And dude on the megaphone on the ground, he's like, "Oh, what you got, airborne?" And I was like, I'm definitely going the wrong way. And then the wind changed, and I just hit feet, knees, face, cartwheeled, and then got drugged halfway down the drop zone. And I finally unlatched my risers, and I laid there, and I was like, thank God I don't have to do that shit again. And then I was like, actually, I re-enlisted for an airborne assignment, so this is what I'm going to be doing.
That is insane. It's pretty dangerous whenever you land, having that wind just keep dragging you places. There was a video released not too long ago. This lady, she was doing her drop and all that, and I don't know if she knew what she was doing or whatever happened. The wind took her directly into a Humvee,
Ugh.
and she just rammed right into it. There's just so many variables that can go wrong.
Yep.
It's super dangerous. Harrelson went, and he whenever he was going, and I don't know what happened with the guy's rig, but I think he had loosened it, because it was said it was too tight on his groin, so he loosened it, but he forgot to tighten it before he went out. So what had happened was he jumped and he got out, but something had snagged and it ripped his scrotum apart.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. And he said that he landed, it was just a big pile of blood everywhere. I was like, dude, you're joking. I'd be damned. Oh my gosh.
It's really sketchy in airborne school too, because I mean, in a unit, like airborne unit, you're a mix of like master rated, senior rated, jump masters, guys who's got tons of jumps under their belt, or and then privates too who just don't know.
Right.
But airborne school, none of you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
You got dudes like running across people's canopies, like 'cause you're just like a mass of airborne troopers in the sky, and they're like running across canopies. People running into each other, getting sucked into vent holes and shit. It's just a huge clusterfuck.
That's hilarious. And so after you got done with airborne school, you went straight to Germany?
No, I went back to Bragg to out process. We had orders. So it was during COVID, and that really screwed everything up. So EFMP, if you got family members, you got to send them through EFMP whenever you're going to a base, even though we didn't have any on EFMP. That took forever. We were supposed to report in June, then it got kicked back. We ended up showing up in November, though.
Okay.
But it was actually Thanksgiving Day. We showed up in Germany.
How was that? Was that a bit of a different scene?
Yeah, so we showed up, and we had to quarantine for 14 days.
Okay.
I have a picture of our luggage because we're preparing for staying in a hotel for 14 days with a newborn, a toddler who's still in diapers.
Yeah.
So you got a shit ton of diapers,
Yeah.
formula, all your stuff that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we're a family of 5 at that point. But my sponsor, he picks us up from the airport. It's Thanksgiving Day. And he drops us off at the hotel. He's like, all right, cool, see y'all later. All the food places have closed at this point. Like, nobody's bringing us anything. So we didn't eat anything that night. Yeah.
Jesus.
But that sucked.
And you finally got assigned to your unit. Were you in like the 173rd?
I was 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces group. So I did get group in Germany. Awesome combination.
Yeah. That sounds pretty laid back.
Didn't know it at the time, but that was a hidden gem.
Did you have to go? So since you were with group, did you have to go through any sort of selection process? You just showed up?
No, you come down on orders. The way it is for enlisted, at least, you just come down on orders. You have to be. You don't have to be. There's some people there that show up that aren't airborne qualified, but that's like the bare minimum. It used to be you had to have a GT score of 100 and be airborne qualified to be an enabler in group.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever get to see them do any cool things? Or?
They integrated us a lot, so they were pretty fair, honestly. If they went to do a field training, they needed to make the max time for their team or whatever, or company during field training. So they would just bring a bunch of enablers to do like the shit jobs.
Yeah.
But they would also like let you train. They would train you, work with you, because like that's their job.
Yeah.
They train up forces behind enemy lines and stuff. So they're like learning how to teach people. while also like you're getting training value out of it too, which it was awesome.
Yeah, it's probably pretty beneficial for both sides.
Yeah.
Then, what was that training like? Was it a bit more high speed than anything else you were used to?
Yeah, because so Bragg, we would only qualify like once a year, and that's really the only time we'd shoot. In Germany, we had a flat range that was kind of indoors, and if we were just training locally, that's where we'd go shoot. And they're like trusting you to walk around with a loaded weapon.
Yeah.
You got a loaded pistol on your hip instead of like being in Big Army where you clear before you leave the firing line. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes your situational awareness better because you got some people who just fucking stupid.
Yeah. It's probably nice to have a place like that where they were probably a bit more laid back instead of all these weird rules, exiting the range, getting ammo cleared and all that shit. It was probably a bit more of a laid back process.
Yeah, that's the first time I shot pistol in the Army too. Was there because we had a flat range where you could do M4 and pistol, but they would train you. They would go out there and work with you somehow. Somehow they'd be able to look like just stand there and watch you. If you're pulling a shot low left, they'd be like, move your hand this way and just immediately fix it. I'm like, fucking gurus out here. We had one guy. He ended up being a team sergeant before I left. But he was in the CRIF, like the quick reaction hostage force before they disbanded back in 2020. So like that's all they did. Mondays were admin days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday they shot.
That's crazy.
So he was like super good. He was on his shit. He knew everything. But he'd come up, watch you shoot, try this, fix this, do that, work with you. But that was a way better experience.
Did you deploy with them?
Yeah, I went to. So it started out as going to Ukraine. We were in Ukraine for, I want to say 2 weeks, and then things with Russia got a little hairy. So we packed up. We were in Kiev. We went to Lviv, which is right near the Polish border, and we were in Lviv for another 2 weeks. I want to say a week or two. It felt like, and then they're like, "Hey, we got to get the fuck out of here." So there was a National Guard unit, Florida National Guard unit, there with us. They were in Lviv before we were there, but they got out. We got out. The Canadians got out. I think there were some Brits there too.
Okay.
But then we went to Poland, and that's where we spent the rest of the time.
Nice.
In Poland.
How long were you in Poland?
So the rotation was only 6 months, so we were a month in at that point. So like 5. Yeah.
Okay. What were y'all doing? Just training more, or training?
Working with the Polish. Was it KGB or their special forces? Whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But working with them, and then that's really what the teams were doing, and then honestly that the 5 months. Because the real reason we were in Ukraine was to work with partner forces in Ukraine, like special forces there.
Right.
And then once we couldn't go across the border, what's our job now? Like, we're just trying to stay relevant, which, not really. Like, I mean, we were training with partner forces, but that was about it.
Was it kind of a strange feeling whenever you see all these, these cool guys out here doing this stuff, and you're like, I've got to deploy with these fucking guys. Like what's gonna happen over there?
Yeah.
Because how old were you at this point?
I was 27 now, so probably like 25.
Okay.
25 for time frame. 24, 25. But yeah, there's not a lot of 18 X-ray people.
Yeah.
They're like that pipeline isn't. We just didn't have, especially being in Germany, they didn't want to dudes fresh off the street, out of the Q course, going to Germany and fucking ruining their careers drinking. Yeah. But it was a lot of older guys, like 30s, especially you get like team sergeants and stuff. They're a lot older. How
would you compare this deployment to the first one?
Oh, way more laid back. Yeah. Way more laid back. Like the freedom and being in a group is big boy rules, and that applies to deployment too. Like, if you don't do your job, you're gonna get fucked up. But I think it was a good time. Like we got to see Auschwitz. We did like
really?
a cultural
How was
day.
that?
It was. So I've been to Arlington and I've been to Auschwitz. It's the same, like, not the same feeling.
Right.
I think Auschwitz is more. I wouldn't say humbling, but it's very heavy.
Yeah.
Really heavy. Because I mean, I didn't know there was multiple camps within Auschwitz.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the different ones, like you see the rail cars. The Germans knew that they were about to get got, and so they blew up the crematoriums and they blew up all that stuff and they threw the ashes in this lake. But so you get to see the ruins and stuff.
That's crazy.
But it, like, walking into a room, you don't know what's next.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk into a room and it's like this huge display case, like the length of this wall.
Yeah.
Of nothing but like shoes or like kid shoes.
Oh my gosh.
Male shoes, women's shoes, and then there's like a case that's pretty big too, just full of gold wedding bands. And
Jesus.
Hundreds of thousands of gold wedding bands. Like,
that's insane.
Human hair, like locks and stuff. Then they had a wall.
They collected the hair?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Because they skinned everybody's hair.
Yeah.
And there's a wall that's still there. You see, that was a tough one too, because they would take the people, they'd strip them naked, walk them out there against this wall, and they like humiliate them, and then they'd execute them.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they'd still lay wreaths there and flowers and stuff. It like super heavy.
That was
place.
Crazy. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I couldn't imagine being in sight's distance of a place where 6 million Jews died.
Like the air, the energy, everything.
It just probably felt really ominous.
Yeah, that everybody's like, because we went with some Green Berets and it was a team, and then it was me and another guy, just enabler, and they were all like, "Oh, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to cry. Like, this is sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this." I was like, "Just be here.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy.
Experience
not
it.
enjoy, but like take in the experience."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. There's something about experiencing another country's culture that not only feels like you're being respectful to them, because if there's one thing that other cultures love to do is show off their culture.
Yep.
They want to show you, hey, this is events that have happened here while they were pretty traumatic over there.
Yeah.
You know, that's still something they probably want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the feeling of whenever they get very excited to show you something, and not to mention, it's way more culturally immersed than you'll ever feel in Greenville or Bragg. You know what I mean? Whenever we went to Africa, we were training with these guys for a couple weeks, and one day it was we just happened to be there at the exact same time as the Olympics, and okay, that's cool. We can't watch it, but it's cool that's going on. And then they were like, "Oh no, we have someone that's going this year." They're like, "We have someone who's competing in the 200-meter dash."
Damn.
And we're like, "That's awesome." We're like, "We still can't watch it," and they're like, "Oh, don't worry." They're like, "We're gonna watch it." We all got dressed up and everything, nice clothes we could get. We walked over there in this little hut that they had, and they had one laptop playing. And keep in mind, they had never won a gold medal in their entire career in the Olympics, and they won that event, and they went fucking wild. I got videos on my phone of them shouting and screaming, and they were singing like their national anthem. It was crazy, but I'd never felt more immersed in a culture than that. It was the coolest experience. Yeah. And then another day they like had this big dance that they wanted to show us, and so they had like coyotes that they had skinned, and they were wearing these coyote skins, and they had all this paint and stuff on them. It was crazy. It was the most insane dance I'd ever seen. These costumes were legit, but they finished the dance, and they're like, "Now it's your turn. Like, now you go, now you dance." And so we were like, this. They brought us back behind the gathering, and they're like, all right, who knows Copperhead Road? And so they're like, all right, if you don't know it, we'll teach you real quick. They're like, now it's your turn to dance. So we all got out. We freaking danced Copperhead Road like a bunch of redneck retards out there. I was like, this is dishonoring what they just did for us doing this dumbass dance. They're like singing all these songs. We're playing Zach Bryan. I'm like, this is dumb.
Two of the coolest things. So in Germany, obviously Oktoberfest,
Yeah,
huge thing.
That'd be
so
awesome.
They do Soldiers Fest,
yeah,
and they put out an invite to the American forces at Stuttgart. They're like, come on in, like let us know how many people you're gonna have. I got to go the second time, and it's this huge. They reserved this giant beer tent for like Oktoberfest beer tent, and it's just you, like the American forces and the Germans, like the Luftwaffe, the fucking regular army guys, like all these people. And at first, you're like Germans over here, Americans over here. You get a meal. It's like half a chicken, a piece of like fresh bread, and some potatoes, and then you get 2 free giant beers. First beer, people start kind of mingling a little bit. Second beer, we're like on top of the tables. And they're giving us more beer. Me and my buddy are walking around. We're like swapping patches and stuff. And this German guy, he grabs me and he was like, "Drink." And I was like, "No. I've had like my 2 beer limit. Like this is whenever I'm in the process of green to gold application." So I was like, I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, you drink." Like lift my head back and start shoving this big ass beer down my throat. I'm just like covered in it.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, Germans love country roads for some reason.
Really?
Yep. That is their shit. They play it at every single Oktoberfest beer garden. Like they're up on the table singing country roads. That was pretty cool.
That is funny. That 2 beer limit shit has always pissed me off.
Stupid.
Especially cause if like Africom or something like that. Those are the rules. They literally pulled out all all the stands for us, all these little bars that they had, and our freaking battalion commander was over there getting fucked up. But yeah, it's so funny. I have a buddy who was he was in the Marines. He got an NJP because he had a beer and an Irish car bomb, and they counted that as 3 drinks.
That's
I'm like, dude,
stupid.
that is bullshit. And then, he was it was also bullshit because he was saying that all the other higher ups, the CO, all of them, they were getting fucking lit every night. Man, but he actually had to leave the Marines and join the Guard because he had full length sleeve tattoos, and they were gonna kick him out with it because that would have been his second NJP. And now full length sleeve tattoos are legal in the Marines now, so
reinstate him. It's kind of like the COVID people. They're like, if you got kicked out because you refused the COVID shot, like you can come back in.
Yeah.
At that point,
fuck you.
I've already established a new career.
Yeah.
Like,
not to mention they probably made so much money on lawsuits. Think of how many lawsuits they made, and not to mention so many people lost their retirement because of that.
Oh yeah.
So you got pretty much reimburse them for their 20 years. That's ridiculous. But yeah, you should see that dude's tattoos, man. He's got like Greek gods all on his arm. Shout out Prince.
Hey.
Yeah, he's got like Medusa on his shoulder, and not to mention he's fucking massive. Dude's built like a freight train. That's why I love Bodwin's tattoos, man. He's got some sick ones.
Yeah.
His whole. You ever see his back?
I haven't seen his back. I can see some of it from his t-shirt collar line.
Yeah, he's got some. He's got some questionable length on his collar right here. It peeks through his tan tee every time he wears it. It's pretty funny.
Yep.
What are these ones you got? Did you get these at Bragg?
So I got that one at Bragg. That one after I finished airborne school.
Hell yeah.
I got that at Fort Lee. Then the Alabama A was my first one.
Nice.
That was at Bragg too. I got that done while I was on deployment in Poland.
Nice.
And that was at Bragg too.
Nice. That one on the shoulder looks good.
Yeah, it was It was done by a Russian dude in Poland. I was like, "You're fleeing from serving in the military, aren't you?" It was
That's
like,
funny.
It was pretty cheap too. For that, it was only $700.
No way,
Yeah.
dude. That's ridiculous. I spent like 3 times that on my arm.
Like this one was 300. I was like,
Yeah.
that is not worth
No,
$300.
That's insane. Yeah, the some of those tattoo shops would gouge you, man.
Oh yeah.
Like thankfully I had a decent tattoo shop. Good tattoo shop, and they gave decent prices. But me and my brother and my dad all got this one whenever I got it April 7th. It was a week after I finished basic, so it was just like the family tree with their initials in it. And then I got this for like the roses for my mom, and then the hydrangeas for my stepmom and my stepsister. And so
Was it you or Zach that got one recently? I feel like
it was Zach.
yeah.
Zach. So I didn't expect it from him at all. He just left for New York,
Mhm.
and then he came back. He's like, "Hey man, check out this tattoo I got." I was like, "What?" And Gina's mom paid for it too. He just got a free tattoo, and but I love the quote. It's like he's got like a Bible verse on his chest, but I love the quote. It says like, "Bear witness as I show you the strength of your creation."
Mhm.
I love that. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's such a
sweet.
cool ass quote.
Yeah.
But I love looking at tattoos in general. Usually the ideas people have behind them are usually pretty creative.
Yeah. This one, the American flag. This one's a cover up of an American flag because the first guy I went to price gouged,
Oh,
and
no.
he's like, he does good work, like black and white.
Uh-huh.
I gotta give him credit, like really good work. But midway through the tattoo, he's like, "Yeah, color isn't my specialty," and I was like, "That would have been nice to know."
Yeah.
Like, I messaged you while I was, a few months ago,
Yeah.
setting this up, and then I went to. It's a really popular one in Fayetteville. I can't remember which one it is, and he did the cover up of this shit cover up. So, but I'm like, I'm done getting this one covered up. Like it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
So you don't like it?
No, not really. Like it looks like shit. And the guy, definitely a closet racist because so I'm sitting in the chair and I'm looking around. They've got their artwork up and stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy has several like Star Wars Nazi like things. Like
What?
I don't know. He like took Star Wars and Nazism and like
Oh my
combined
gosh.
them. And I was like,
Master race.
you might want to take that down. 'Cause
Oh my gosh.
that's definitely not cool.
Like there's a lot of tattoo shops that some of them don't really care, and they'll do whatever you ask them to, but they won't like post it, or
Yeah,
they
no.
won't advertise it.
No.
Like, hey, look at this freaking swastika tattoo I just did. Great price.
Come on by.
Yeah. Like that's not something you put in the ad book or anything.
No,
that's
not
insane.
your portfolio. Keep that one out.
You know what's crazy is that so I was this one on my forearm. It was super quick, maybe like an hour or so, and then I told my tattoo guy, his name is Gabe, a real good dude. I was like, I want to get the rest of my arm done because I don't want to look like a pussy anymore.
Yeah.
My forearm done. And then he's like, yeah, man, that's good. He's like, that's probably 2 8-hour sessions. I was like, yeah, sign me up, too easy. And then I got there, and I just didn't get it. He started right here on the front of my forearm. I was like, it's not bad. And then he got up to my elbow. Then he got onto my bicep. I'm like, dude, you're killing me right now. I couldn't do it, man. I did it, but I was
Elbow isn't bad. The guy, he was jamming my elbow on this one, and I was fine. The worst was up near my collarbone.
Yeah.
And then like my tricep, because the way he had me laying, he was just like pinching my tricep. And obviously the white ink
Yeah.
after, fuck.
I really hated the bicep right here.
Oh, yeah.
The side, that really
Yep.
hurt.
The
And-
closer he gets to your armpit.
Yeah, man, I just couldn't take it. And then, he was really cool. He's my age. He was a little older than me,
Mhm.
but he had his whole back done, all his whole chest. It's like, if this dude can do it, I can do it. And then the second day is I had my whole 8 hours. I took maybe 10 minutes break. It was 8 hours all the way through.
Yeah.
I was there from open to close, and it was miserable. And finally got through. My arm was numb. Couldn't feel anything.
Swollen.
Yeah, I was red as shit. And then I was like, "You're not gonna touch my arm unless I have numbing cream." I was like, "I don't care if I'm pussy. I don't care what they call me. It's like you are not putting a stencil near me. Like you're not even in the same direction as me without numbing cream." So I got that the next time, and it maybe lasted an hour, and then I felt the full embrace of his needle.
The Jolly Roger one on my thigh. I got that while I was in Stuttgart, and because I get one everywhere.
Yeah.
I go. But I think that one was pretty rough because, again, they don't have central heating or air there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's summertime. I'm in this
Sweating your
basement.
ass off.
Oh my god, I'm hurting. I'm hurting bad. I was like, we got to wrap this shit up, dude. Like,
Yeah. Are you gonna get one here?
yeah. I don't know where. I don't know where to go, and also don't really know what I want to get exactly.
Right there on your back.
No, no.
That right there. Oh, ECU logo.
Yeah, I really want to finish this American traditional sleeve.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would look. American traditional.
Might look good. You might get somebody who can do it nice. I remember I was so freaked out. You know how some people have like the tongue that's kind of split in half.
Oh god, yeah.
My artist had that, and I was like, what the fuck? Because first time I saw him, I was 17. I didn't even need it, or he didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I just walked in and saw him. I was like, you look weird. Dude. It was like, and he's cool, super chill, dude. And he's a little shy, but and I was talking to him about that one day, or while I was getting it done, just because he wouldn't talk to me. He was super quiet. I had to beg him to talk. I had to pry him with information. He wouldn't talk unless I talked, and we were there for 8 hours. Might as well say something.
Yeah.
But I was like, how was that, man? He was like, that was the most pain ever.
Oh, I can imagine.
Well, he said that they injected him and then numbed it, and I was like, okay, maybe that wasn't the worst. And he said the worst was they gave me a mirror and clamped my tongue. He said they make me hold the mirror so that I could look at it. He said he was watching them take the scalpel go through his tongue.
Oh,
like, you are insane, dude.
No.
I was bitching so much about the tattoo while I was getting it. Every time they finish their tattoo, they go and show it to the owner, like, hey, this is my work, because he was like validating it. He's like, yeah, good job, man. And I got up and I started walking over towards him. He's like, this is what all the crime was about. I was like, fuck you, man. I was like, I'm doing my best over here.
I'm fighting for my life right now.
It's funny because while he was saying that, while I went up and showed the owner my tattoo, there was a guy there who had a full body, head to toe tattoos, but it was all black and white. And then he had lost his wife, and that was like his thing: get tattoos, cover it up, or feel something, whatever. Yeah. And it was all in black and white. He was there getting it all colored in. He literally got 2 full body tattoos, got all of it covered in. Could you even imagine what that cost?
A lot. Oh,
dude, that's thousands of dollars. Bodwin spent so much money on his tattoo.
I seen. So we were in summer PTs, yeah. So I seen his arms and legs. I was like, yeah, that dude is tatted. I haven't seen the front or back either.
He's got like a little scrawny American eagle on his stomach, right?
Little chicken.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like every time we go out, you like go and flex, and like you see like the little eagle on his stomach. I laugh so hard at it every time. It's hilarious. His back looks good though. You can tell it took some work. You tell it took some money too.
I don't know how the back would feel. I want to get I want to get my chest, like the upper chest done, but
I've heard that is extremely painful.
I'm a little worried about that one.
I mean, you think about it. That's straight, you're hitting your pectoral muscle, and then right under that, it's all rib.
I've seen some like Instagram and YouTube reels, people just jamming their nipples, like the areola and the nipple tip too. Like, I've seen like people have their armpits done.
Oh no, dude! Did you ever look at MGK's tattoo that he did?
Mm.
Oh my gosh! Here, I'm gonna pull this shit off my phone, man, because you have to see this. So, he used to have just some random tattoos here and there, and then I don't know what kind of conniption fit he had.
What compelled him to get this?
Yeah, and it looks good. I really enjoy his tattoo, but it's the craziest tattoo I've ever seen. So he literally blacked it all out.
Oh my god!
Blacked it all out and got the cross, around his chest, and then the lines down his arms.
Mm.
That is the craziest tattoo I've ever seen in my life. That is just wild.
I had a buddy back at Bragg. He, the typical like trees and stuff on the forearm.
Yeah.
He had that, and he was like, "This is so mainstream now. I get shit on for it."
It's like the barbed wire on the bicep.
He's like, "I'm gonna black it out," and he blacked it out, but it wasn't evenly done when it healed, and it just looked like. I was like, dude, this looks worse than when it started, man. You just left it alone.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's another one. Gabe was telling me this, that my tattoo artist, he was the one to introduce me to it. It's called the Black Alien Project.
Oh.
You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's
Sounds
he's this guy on Instagram. Pull it up, Jamie. But it was I guess it was like his thing. He had always wanted to be an alien, So what he did was he surgically removed 2 of his fingers.
Oh.
He surgically removed his ears.
Mm.
He cut off most of his nose. And not to mention he's fully tattooed all around his head, neck, and face. His full body is all black. There's no distinction. This is a human being right here in this photo.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. Right? He got these little scars that make like these alien creases on his face, and he's got a wife and kids. Can you imagine if you showed up at home, your wife saw you, like, "Hey, babe, just cut off my fingers."
She would shoot me.
Cut off my nose. It looks like a camel toe. Jesus, dude.
You couldn't be seen. Like, I wouldn't want to be seen like that.
No, I think that's his thing though. But what he does, it's ridiculous. On his Instagram page, in his bio, he keeps a percentage track. So right now he's at like 75% alien, and he keeps going up the more he does.
All he does is cameos.
Yeah, he is the alien. Like, he's in Predator, all these movies. But some people, I think he did it too. They get like these implants in. There, these spiral implants embedded in their skin to make it look coarse and rigid, like an alien skin or whatever. It's ridiculous. Why would you ever do that?
And one day you're gonna look back and be like, "Man, that was really stupid."
Yeah, because one day your kids are gonna have kids, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, let me see my grandpa." Oh, wait, he's this fucking weirdo.
I'm not gonna take you around Grandpa because Grandpa's a fucking weirdo.
Strange ass cat, dude. No way I would let my kids see my dad if he looked like that. Not to mention, I'd just never see my dad again.
I'd be like, "All right, well, it's been real cool. I'm out."
Yeah, I'd emancipate myself and just fucking leave. There's no way. God, dude. Yeah, my dad's got tattoos are strange though. He's got the Bible verses across his arms. But have you ever seen the ink pockets? It's it's something that happens with the ink. I think your body has a bad reaction to it, and you get like a sack of skin that's filled with ink, and it just moves around. I don't think you can pop it though. It's almost like a blood blister. It looks like a giant blood blister. Imagine your whole arm, but it's just red ink. Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah, I agree. The funniest part though is seeing dumbass privates and stuff get their tattoos. I love that.
My God, I was at Sam's Club yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
walking out. This guy, big dude, he's in shape. He had 0331
Oh
going
my
down his
God.
tricep, and then he had like an Eagle Globe and anchor on his back.
Jesus
leg.
Christ. Freaking retard. Yeah, 0331. That's Marine machine gunner, right? I'm like 1,000. I'm almost 100% certain that it is.
No, was 0311's infantry.
Yeah,
so.
that's rifleman, I think. Regular or like light infantry. I am sure 0331 is machine gunner.
Dude was like, I'm sure he was drunk in the barracks.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
like, let's go get a tattoo.
He's probably in Okinawa. he's like, you know what? I got this crazy idea. Come check this out.
This sounds perfect.
You go home, your mom sees you, fucking all these letters. What the fuck?
That's the reason why all the tattoo shops around like Jacksonville and Cherry Point and any Marine base, they're like, I know they're cranking out Eagle Globe and anchor
Oh yeah,
tattoos.
yeah. They probably perfected the.
Dude walks in with a
EGA.
high and tight, and they're like, "Don't tell me. I know what you're gonna get. It's already stenciled. Where do you want it at?"
They probably just keep a really good stencil of it.
Yep.
And they're like, this is it right here, man. Hey, that looks a lot like my buddy's EG. I couldn't do it, man. I had to break away from a lot of the basic run of the mill shit that
Yep.
people do, man, because I can't be this walking stereotype. You know what I mean? I can't be this dude who gets out, gets this shitty Challenger or Mustang or whatever that I got on a shitty interest rate. I went and knocked up this ugly chick. Got a kid that I don't want and a job that I don't like, and I had to break away, man. I was like, I gotta do something else.
I can't be like this.
Yeah, I gotta bring some freaking honor to my name and do something. You mentioned ESB earlier. Did you do that at Bragg?
No, I did that whenever I was in Germany.
Oh,
so
really?
The 173rd reached out to us. They're like, "Hey, we're doing a ESB."
Italy?
Yeah, in Italy at Vicenza.
Mm.
So we drove from Stuttgart to
Damn.
Vicenza. Italy's a great place.
Yeah.
Definitely. If we go back overseas, either Italy or Germany again, like.
Mhm. Would you
But-
recommend Germany as a like? Would you rather go back there instead of somewhere like Bragg or?
Oh, 100%. I feel like everybody, along with deploying, you should
Yeah.
leave the country
Absolutely.
at least once.
I said that my top, all of my top picks would be Oconus stations. I would want to be. I'd probably choose like Italy, Germany, Okinawa, any of these places. Just get me away. And then they're gonna send me to fucking Womack. They're like, you're here. This is
Idiot,
you.
we got him.
This is you. You're stuck here. I think I'd rather die.
Yeah, I think mine are Italy, Germany, I want to say Japan,
Yeah.
and no, Hawaii, and then Japan.
Okay.
But
After hearing all of Koch's horror stories, you think
it'd be fine.
you?
Let me burn at the beach. That'll make up for it.
That dude hates Hawaii. That's all he ever talks about. But he hates that place.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he was not a fan. But
No.
I mean, granted, his unit trained a lot.
Yeah,
I think
it's very high tempo over
I
there.
think it depends what unit you get.
Probably a little different for you.
Yeah. So that's why I like group, because we had a mandatory 4-day weekend every single month instead of like you're going months without a 4-day or a 3-day
Yeah.
weekend in Big Army.
Mm-hmm. What how is the transition from there to here? Is this
Dude.
this is what you wanted, right? To come here?
This is what I wanted, but it was definitely culture shock.
Yeah.
And reverse culture shock coming from Germany to America, because I hadn't seen my parents or Hannah's parents or our family or America in like, what was it, 4 years?
Damn.
Because I mean, we got big ass family,
Yeah.
so it costs a bunch of money to fly,
Yeah.
and then so that was hard, and getting used to like being back in America
Mm-hmm.
and never being, well, I've been on to college, but like going to college on campus,
Yeah.
that was also very hard.
Yeah. Was it what's your major again?
Master's in business administration.
Okay.
So-
So you went to school prior?
Mm-hmm.
Were you
Just
online?
Yeah. University of Maryland
Okay.
local campus.
Okay. The I'm assuming the work's a little different this time
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
How is it actually going to classes? It's probably pretty cool to actually see how that stuff is in person.
I like it. I like going in person because, like, even though it's like a master's or graduate level program, I feel like it's easier than my bachelor's degree was.
Yeah.
Like, bachelor's degree, I felt like there were some professors that were, like, legit trying to fail you.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
The master's professors, all of them have been super great.
Mhm.
Like, they're like, you're 9 times out of 10 a working adult.
Yep.
You're going to school. You don't have to have this degree.
Mm.
So they're trying to make it like in accounting. I did not pass a single fucking test in accounting, but I didn't miss a day of school either. And
Yeah.
my professor was like, "Don't worry about the final. You'll at least get a C in the class. It just depends on
Yeah.
how good you do." But
Mm.
I ended up getting a B because I came to class every day and participated.
Yeah.
I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah, I remember because, like I said, I was working at that solar field an hour or so away, and I'd only ever done online school. So I was enrolled at Embry-Riddle online for maybe a year or two, and then came here, and I was like, well, I might as well try to get some classes in. So I was online at Pitt.
Mm.
I had never stepped foot onto a college campus until my first day of chemistry class.
Ooh.
And I literally walked in on a Monday morning, and there was like 250 students in the auditorium. I was like, what is happening?
God.
I was like, I'm going from my bedroom and my laptop to this. This is ridiculous.
That's what I had always, like. That's what I was scared of because all
Yeah.
you hear is like the big auditoriums. And I walked into accounting, and it was me and like 10 other people.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought that my biggest fear was I was gonna be the oldest guy in the class.
Mm.
I walk in, and of course I'm the oldest guy in the class. But I expected there to at least be some older people going back to school, but I guess they're just doing that online because it's not feasible.
Or they all just like
Fresh
Really?
graduated. Yeah.
so they just hopped right back in.
Yep. Some of them were like, I just didn't have a plan. Like, I'm just gonna waste more money.
Didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Screw that, man. Do anything.
I only wanted my master's degree, A, to say I had a master's degree.
Yeah.
B, military was paying for it,
Mhm.
and then C, if I did green to gold, this was what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't do green to gold, TA was going to pay for it anyway. So
Yeah.
I would be stupid to not take
Yeah.
advantage of it.
I know you've had kids your whole time through
Mhm.
school, but like have you gotten to at least seize a little bit of the college life?
There's one reason why we decided on ECU. I wanted to go to Alabama. That's like my dream school. But
Nice.
we wanted to be close to family, so sometimes we'll take the kids to her parents' house, and they'll watch them for the weekend, and we'll go out and party around Greenville.
Nice.
Very interesting.
Well, yeah. What's your spot? Where do you go?
I love Sup Dogs.
Yeah,
Sup
oh, yeah.
Dogs or Crush, and I liked Angus a lot whenever we went there. Hannah loves Dirty Dan's. Dirty Dan's is fucking terrible, man. Like it's so loud, so loud.
It is loud.
There's so many people you can't move around. Like
Yeah.
it takes me 10, 15 minutes to get a beer.
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I here? Like
Yeah.
I can just walk to my refrigerator at
Yeah.
home and get it.
And they won't give you two at a time either, unless you're paying for someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, I've sat in line forever. Just give me a Busch Light and let me go about my day.
Yeah, no. Bodwin used to go to Angus so much that they knew him by name, and they was getting weird, man. I'd show up with them to Angus sometimes, and I kid you not, man, they'd act like he was their son. You're like, oh, welcome back. It was like, we've seen you around town. And they were showing him videos of himself that they were taking of him in public.
That's creepy.
I'm like, dude, I was like, you got to break away from these guys. All the waitresses hit on him all the
Hey.
time, but they're not attractive, of course. Yeah,
They're not the Sup Dog.
no.
bitches.
And I was like, dude, you've got to break away because I feel uncomfortable going in there with him now. I can't go in there. I'll hang out by the pool table. It was like, hey, I want this. Like, just go order for me at this point.
The food looks good.
The food is good.
We did not get food because we went. This was after the military ball. I was
working.
Yeah, after the military ball, I was like, I'm here to get shit house.
Yeah.
I don't want any food.
Yeah.
Just feed me beer.
Yeah, we got to do that next time because I really wanted to go out, but I had to break away from work just so I could even go to the ball.
Damn.
I didn't even enjoy the ball.
Yeah.
It was super gay.
Yeah. I didn't expect that. I thought we were at least going to be able to like get up and dance or do something. It was just it was all formal shit.
It's just one big dick sucking contest. Like, is everyone thanking everybody about doing nothing? Like, oh, I know it's so hard to get everything set up. Thank you to our team. Like, they had a whole year to do it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, dude,
this wasn't last minute.
Yeah, dude, I was so upset. And then all y'all were sitting over here. I was all the way across the auditorium. I wasn't even with all my friends.
I fucking hated the assigned seating. Like,
Yeah.
Don't assign me to a table.
Yeah.
Like, let
me
mingle
pick.
With yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know who I like. Because if you did, you wouldn't put me with fucking Goodison and his girlfriend, who sure as shit didn't want to be there. Like, and not to mention all the people I was with, I was the only junior. I was the only 3 there. Like, you're not even gonna put me with people in my grade or my class? Come on.
I'm just glad they put me. I think it was me, Koch, I think Bodwin.
Yeah, and Zach and Gina were there. I was like, this is bullshit.
Aiden.
Yeah, fucking and Owen, right?
Oh yeah.
Dude, Owen's right. Watching Owen dance is one of the greatest things I've seen with my own eyes.
such a good guy.
He's
always a good time.
He's one of the most genuine dudes I've ever met in my life. But Aiden fucking cracks me up, man. He's so funny, but he doesn't know that he's so funny. Like, he says all these things, but he doesn't realize that he's as funny as he is, and it just, God, his humor just gets me, man. We'll have to invite you over. So Bodwin does we call it B-Stone Night. So
B-Stone.
Yeah, he's got a huge black stone out there, and he cooks up. He'll get a whole thing of steak and chicken going, and then we'll cook like tacos with some carne asada and chips and salsa. Dude, it's so good. Well, we brought Aiden and Wolf over one time, but anytime we ever ask the married people, they're like, oh, I'll go hang up on my kids. Like, I got stuff to do. Koch just never came because y'all been busy.
Yeah.
But
he ain't never busy.
He says he's busy. Piece of shit. But yeah, dudes. There's some good dudes. We got a good class.
Yeah. I think we got a pretty good class.
Yeah. And me and you are gonna be the cannon team captains.
Dude, I am not looking forward to that. I did not sign up. Ardoa called me. He was like, hey, man, do you want to be the cannon team captain? I'm like, do I have a choice?
He told me, because he texted me right before the ceremony. Like, I was almost getting dressed to go. And he was like, hey, like, can you be cannon team captain next year? I was like, I can. Like, I can do it.
Well, he didn't give me that option. He must have called me first. I don't know who he called first, because he was like, yeah, for the co-captain, Warren said he really wanted to do it.
Bullshit, I said I really wanted to do it. I said I could do it.
He was like, well, it's either Wolf or Warren. He was like, well, Warren said he really wanted to do it.
Bullshit. What a liar. I hope he hears this shit one day. Oh my gosh, dude. Dude, I was signed up for Cannon Team last year, but I had I never went to a single game. I was like, this is dumb.
It's like, it's a lot of pressure because that bitch is loud as hell. And we had like 2 indies one game.
Oh, really?
That was televised on ESPN.
Oh my gosh, dude. That sounds awful. I saw the Cannon we got to pull it one time. I didn't even do it. I just watched someone do it, and it was cool. The only good thing about us being captains is that I'm not going to be standing there at parade rest for 2 hours.
Yeah, no.
Fuck that. I'll load the shit. I'll stand there. I'll tell you when to fire. I'll do whatever.
Well,
I'm not doing that.
Well, we'd have it on standby and ready, and they were like hiding behind out of like the view of the camera.
Yeah.
And then once he got ready to score, or EC was getting close to score, and then you run out there and stand.
Yeah.
But sometimes they catch you off guard, and that's where the ND happened. The first play of the game for ECU on offense, dude just chunks it.
Yeah.
Deep pass. We're like trying to run out there. I'm one of the safeties, and I'm like running out, and fucking I forgot who it was. Just yanks the cord, scares the shit out of me on TV. Like I flinched so
my
hard.
gosh, Jesus.
Yeah, we're have to tighten that up a little bit.
So that was on ESPN. You flinched.
Well, I don't know if like I hope I wasn't. They're like, oh, look at this fucking dude.
Oh my gosh, dude, that sounds awful. I'm just looking forward to, Ken team gonna be whatever. I'm just looking forward to being back from this summer.
Dude, I'm already losing my mind. The kids are out of school. We just like sit at the house and don't really.
Yeah.
There's like nothing to look forward to
Yeah.
other than the dark looming cloud that is CST.
Yeah, I leave 2 weeks from yesterday, so I leave on the 18th. Bodwin's gone. Parker should be gone because he was first reg. Lamb got selected
For CA?
Yeah.
Damn, hell yeah.
I'll be honest. She can hear this and she can bitch all she wants. I don't give a fuck. I didn't think she was gonna do it. I didn't see it. I'll be honest. I didn't see it coming, but she surprised me.
It's not that confidential.
She did good. I don't know anyone besides her that's ever gotten selected.
Yeah.
I absolutely don't know anything about the pipeline for that.
I've interacted with CA and PSYOP guys, and I think the CA dudes. So there was a CA captain. She was out of West Point and played soccer there, I want to say. But like they were super super nice people. The PSYOP dudes were fucking asshats. They were such douchebags.
Just messing with you.
No, so I asked this guy. I was like, never talked to him before. I was like, hey, are you PSYOP or CA? He's like, I'm PSYOP. Why do you keep thinking I'm fucking CA? I was like, damn, bro, put your wiener away. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jesus, man. That's how a lot of these guys are, man. You ask anyone what it was like to any Army or Marine guy what it was like to work with SEALs. A lot of them will tell you they're fucking assholes. Yeah. Everyone that you meet, they'll say, yeah, they were in the gym with us, or they were in training with us, and they'll say, man, they were just fucking dicks.
I've had a handful of interactions with them during the Poland deployment, but they weren't terrible, but definitely like the Green Berets are more humble.
Yeah.
Like easier to work with.
Plus they're just fun.
Yeah.
Like minds, you're in the same branch, you do the same stuff most of the time. Like they're just cool dudes. I've never gotten to interact with any SEALs, but I think it'd be cool. It's always been like I don't know. It's always been one of those people you want to meet. It's like meeting the president, Like you want to just meet these dudes that are pretty cool in this little niche group.
Yeah, you look at them like that too.
Yeah.
And when I first met them, I was like, not really what I expected. I thought you were going to be like barrel chested.
Yeah, some Greek gods.
No, they were just like. It's so funny because SF is the same way. You'll have like a dude my size build who is like running the show or whatever, and then you got some fucking chiseled Greek god.
He's like supply.
I'm like, this is interesting. You got a bunch of the diversity is really really interesting.
Yeah, that's why I would have never seen Kerrigan going med serve.
I didn't either.
I was like, dude, that's a shoe in for 18 X-ray.
Yeah. The lost my train of thought. Oh well.
Yeah, dude, that dude That dude's built insane.
Oh,
He's
now I
like
got
he's
it.
like an anime character.
Yeah. So we had a neighbor. He was 18 Bravo. It's like the weapons sergeant. Dude
Yeah.
was like fucking huge.
Yeah.
Huge guy. He did green to gold. So once you do green to gold as SF, like you still have your tab and your green break because you've earned it,
Yeah.
but you're no longer like SF.
Right.
So I was like, why are you dropping being this cool guy job to
Yeah.
go to green to gold? Can you imagine having a fucking SF dude in our class?
No, I'd never do it. I'd never do it. What? I guess pay's obviously a huge incentive, but I mean
it's not that much. Well, the retirement is
what gets you.
Yeah, but his like, I can't remember if he was free fall or not, but like jump pay, language pay.
Oh
all
yeah,
that
then he
shit.
was probably making more.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's insane. But I wonder, because if you're in SF, I wonder if you're allowed to go back once you commission though,
So-
because Bodwin said that he can go back to Bragg,
hmm
and I'm assuming you could probably go back to Germany.
I'd love to.
'Cause Bodwin said that wherever you're from originally, if I'm assuming you just talk to someone or get it approved, you can go back to that duty station.
Hopefully, I know my battalion commander PCS around the same time I did
Mm.
from my last unit, but I wonder if there's anybody over there I can pull some strings
Finagle.
with. Yeah.
What made you want to go green to gold in the first place if you were having such a good time in Germany?
I wanted to go. I'd heard about it at Bragg. Initially, the reason why is because I was going to Fayetteville Tech, and I finished there. 2021, but so I was working on the green and gold packet because early on with COVID and everything, I fucking hated Germany because like I'm away from my family, or we're away from our families, and we can't travel, we can't do shit. Like, what's the point? I'm just going to work, the commissary and the PX, and then back to the house and just drinking all weekend, every
Yeah.
weekend. But so that's where it started because I was like, I can get back to the States, get my bachelor's degree or whatever. But I didn't have a strong enough packet at the time. And then once, I think it was like 2025? So 2023, I like took over as a platoon sergeant for the maintenance company. Then did company operations sergeant time, and then like built my packet up and submitted it that way. It got my name out there. Way better result. But green to gold, they asked me why I wanted to be an officer, and I was like, because I want to lead soldiers at the highest level. They're like, no, don't be lose the fucking generic answer. But I just got tired of being shit on all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Good answer.
That was my truthful answer. Like, you just get shit on all the time. Like, all the details, all this. Like, I wanted to have a say, more of a say in what I did.
Bring
in my
some common sense.
Yep. Because fuck, it goes away up at the top.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It goes away.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that the biggest thing that higher ups could use a little bit more of is brain power, and just I understand they have to think about the whole mission set. They need to think about integration with other parties and all these things, all these different training plans. But if you implement it down to the most simplistic level, how bad could it be?
Yep.
Yeah, if you make it the easiest that it could be and still get the best training value, what's the worst that could happen?
Exactly. That, and like one thing that pissed me off being a mechanic was we'd get these parts last minute that have to go in the vehicle or generator or whatever because it's like mission critical. And then they're like, all right, see y'all later. I'm going to my wife and kids. Fuck no. I'm like, I'm hanging back with the boys.
Yeah. That had to have been nice, at least working on generators. At least you had power, right?
Yeah. Well, not all the time.
Really?
Yeah. But so sometimes it depends because at Bragg, the two fields that we went to, the first one we had a big maintenance tent where I had to have the generator powered that I was responsible for keeping that up. But the second one, we were sleeping in like Humvees and fucking trucks and tents and shit. I was like, this one sucked a little more.
Yeah.
But in Germany, we would usually go to Graf to train, like Graf and Veer and Vilsec, where
Mhm.
Contra's at, and they have hard structures that you sleep on or sleep in. You would either go sleep in that, go out to the range and train, or sometimes we would just sleep at the range because they had hard structures with cots and stuff at the range.
Yeah. The what are you trying to branch now?
Logistics with Koch, yeah,
Okay.
same as him.
Which are you hoping to fall under any certain category under that?
Mopo. I want to go back to the motor pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You had all these years in the motor pool. You want to go back?
It's funny because I went green to gold because I hated being a mechanic.
Yeah.
And now that we had logistics come and talk to us, I was like, it's not that fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be worse.
Yeah.
And I will have control, or somewhat control,
Mhm.
over the outcome of stuff.
Yeah. At least you're not like infantry, like sleeping out in the woods.
Yeah.
Or doing live fires and shit.
That was one of my top fives when I first came in. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about this one anymore.
The was it you that pulled a CTLT for this summer?
Mm-mm.
I thought you did want one.
Nah. I was trying to do a school, but didn't get picked.
Oh, which one do you want?
Wanted aerosol. I said
Aerosol.
airborne.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was gonna be anything special.
Yeah, no.
Looks cool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
The everybody usually shoots for airborne anyway. I'd have rather had that. They gave it
Yeah.
Owen. The twos got 3 slots.
Damn.
We got 2. 'Cause Bodwin got the mountain. I got the aerosol, and then they had aerosol, and airborne for the twos.
How long is Mountain Warfare? I feel like he just got there.
2 weeks, I think. A little bit over 2 weeks, he said. Because he left on the 31st, and he gets back on the 13th. So,
Okay.
yeah, 2 weeks. Dude, Miss Rose sent him a day early.
God bless her.
Dude, fuck that. if I get sent a day early, because they couldn't take him. He had to buy a hotel.
Damn.
Like with his GTC.
Good old
Screw that. I'll be damned. By the time you get back, you'll have a freaking payment the size of a car. You know, like, screw that.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with it. I'd rather just pay it by myself and here's my receipt. I'd rather do that.
Pay me back.
Yeah, he was sending me pictures of him in Vermont though. He just found this bar. He was just drinking. He was hanging out. He was listening to the jazz music they were playing outside.
Vermont. That's where it's at?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that's beautiful.
Yeah, I've met some people from Vermont. They liked it a lot. Cause I guess you need the elevation.
Yeah.
You know, it's up there. It's past New York and all that. It's way upstate, so it's.
We did land nav, and it's called Asiago, Italy, and it's like straight. It's in the Alps. Like,
Okay.
Fuck the mountains. Like, that was terrible.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rough.
I don't want to go to mountain warfare.
I don't know shit about knots, man. So we went to West Point for that competition, and we had to learn all these knots. And Koch is sitting over here doing it with one hand and shit. I'm like, what are we doing?
He's a guru at everything.
He is, man. He just knows damn everything. Like we were just doing all this training. He was like, oh yeah. Like, I was learning all this shit for the first time. He's like, oh. He's like, he just walked away. He wouldn't even do the training. He'd just walk away sometimes. Or he'd go teach other people because he already knew what to do. This is insane.
It's funny, he, like, keeps that part of, I don't know, like, military and everything kind of, like, tucked away. Because, like, you're hanging out and drinking. I listened to the podcast, and I was like, I didn't know half this shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, and it was just so funny because he's done all of this stuff, but it's like he doesn't want
anyone to know.
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone to know. He doesn't. And I get the feeling of not wanting to brag about it.
Yeah.
That's why I brought you here. I'm like, I want you here because I know you've done cool stuff, and you don't want to talk about it. So I was like having to pry it out, like to say something.
How was the sniper course? It was fun.
Yeah, he was like, He's like, oh yeah, and then I went to Israel, and then
Didn't know that.
I'm like, wait. I was like, what were you doing in Israel? He's like, oh, there was this sniper competition, and I'm like, were you in it? It's like, you mentioned the school earlier. I was like, he's like, yeah, that was sniper school. I'm like, okay, let's talk about that.
Let's put two together.
But if you just have a normal conversation with him, he's just a super laid back
Yep.
guy. You
You would
talk
never
about
know.
baseball and whatever. Or you drink, you talk about hunting because he's a super hunting guru.
Yep.
But he cracks me up, dude. He's fucking hilarious. I felt like I was pissing him off so bad at West Point, man. I was, you know me, I was bitching about everything,
Yep.
and I was doing all this stuff, and then I felt like I was getting on his nerves, man. I felt bad because even though I knew I was still bitching, I was doing all this shit. I thought he was gonna die though at West Point, man.
Yeah, he said it was hot.
We started the 8 mile, and 8 miles is whatever. Anybody can do 8 miles.
Yeah. It's
And,
not that difficult.
But I kid you not, man. Every 12 mile I've ever done, I'd take it over that 8 mile. And because the first 2 miles were like this, it's what it felt like. It was directly uphill, and me and Strickland were up at the front, and I look back, the whole team scattered maybe 200 meters. They're just scattered all around this big ass mountain we're climbing, and passing all these people who were heat catting.
Yeah.
We're passing all these people who were passed out, laying on the ground and shit. And every time we'd hit a peak, we'd see another peak, and we'd have to keep going up, man. We never stopped. And I looked back one time, and Koch looked rough. Like, he looked like he was about to fucking die. And then I see him again, and he was doing a little bit better, and he had his ACH off. I was like, fuck it, I'm taking mine off too. I was like, this is bullshit. And then so Strickland started carrying his pack, I believe, and then Strickland had his Kevlar and Koch's Kevlar strapped to his ruck. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I just strapped it to mine, and then we finally made it, man. It was miserable. It was funny because whenever Koch started getting towards the end, he's like, joking around. He's like, "This is fucking bullshit." he's like, "This is the worst ever." But I think it's just so funny. I mean, he did all these schools, he did all these selection courses, and for him to say that was the worst, I was like, "This is bad."
This does suck.
I was talking to Bodwin after. I was like, "That's arguably one of the worst rucks we've ever done." He was like, "No, that was the worst I've ever." And I was like, yeah, it was fucking awful. And what sucked even more is that as soon as we got back, we finished or whatever, we were like third last, and we were so slow. And then we finished in over 3 hours and 15 minutes, and West Point finished in 1 hour and 10.
Ain't no fucking way.
Oh yeah, they ran that shit, and I counted it up. That was about an 8-minute pace they held the whole way. And
On a uphill ruck.
yeah, it was
Oh.
maybe it was a little bit less. I don't know, but
I mean, shit, even close to that is
Dude,
rough.
I know. We held a steady 20. It's 20 minutes. I couldn't even imagine going as fast as they did. But that's why they got the gold, I guess.
Yeah.
But as soon as we finished though, they took us over to our barracks, Weisiger. We had no food. Everyone else, Canada's team brought them Chipotle, and every other team had pizza and all this shit. And Weisiger's like, "Hey, y'all want MREs?" And I'm like, "No, I don't fucking want MREs. I want food. I want hot food. You've been sitting here for 3 hours. Guess what? I'm hungry." I was bitching, dude. I was pissed, and we got into the barracks. First of all, as soon as we got into the barracks, I saw a mouse crawl out of it. I was like, well, that sucks. We got in there, and we had Canada, Thailand, and maybe it was Korea, and then it was us in this little barracks, and it was, I was finally away. I finally got my shit off. Finally took all my clothes off, and then Harrelson said, he's like, "Warren, Zach, Bodwin, Palmer." He's like, "Y'all are doing the mystery event. Get your shit on." I'm like, "What?"
There's a mystery event?
Dude, oh my gosh, I was so mad. I was because I didn't have any food. I was starving, and we did all this shit all day, done all these events. Probably went 20 miles that day just in walking and all that, because we were rucking to each event.
Yeah.
And there's like 12 events. and each one was like a mile or two. And we got there, and then took all my shit off, and I was finally able to breathe. And then Harrison was like, "Yeah, y'all are doing the mystery event." I was like, "One, why us?" But then I looked around. Harrison was about to die. Cotter's already asleep. All these people. Strickland was doing Nightland Nav with Lamb. Dawkinson was about to freaking pass out. Ransom was about to die. He's cramping up the whole last 2 miles. He was running it, and but so I guess we were the most able-bodied.
Couldn't be me.
and then we got out there, man, and we were like, here for the mystery event, whatever. They're like, oh, okay, you're doing a night shoot. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, I gotta do a night shoot. I had to sign for nods for all 4 of us, and then we went out and did this stupid ass lane, but not before. We waited 2 hours for our iteration to go. I was pissed. It's a fun event, fun competition. I'd do it again. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to do it again, but I would. But I was just glad that we got to go.
Yeah.
Because that's all you ever hear about with Ranger Challenge is, oh, this is what they do at Sandhurst. And no one ever goes. Like, no one that I know has ever went, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No one from the programs went in 15 years. I was like, I just want to do it once. I just want to see it. I don't care if we come last, which we almost did.
Very close.
We beat
2 teams.
Yeah, we beat Santa Barbara, and I think we beat Latvia. I felt like they couldn't even understand the rules. They had translators translate. They didn't even know what was happening. Santa Barbara was the only American team that we beat. But that was. I've done week-long competitions before. That blew it out of the water.
Fuck that.
And now I got to go back because that's where fucking Air Salt is.
Oh, yeah.
So now I got to go back to West Point.
They don't send you to Campbell?
They sent the other guy to Campbell. They sent Gonzalez to Campbell. And Harrison went to Campbell. Not me.
New York.
Yeah.
Best I could do.
Fuck it, man. Whatever. It'd probably be better as far as humidity. Actually completing the events, probably be able to breathe. I don't want to do that. Those hills again, though.
No.
It's just steep. Everywhere you go is steep. It's a mountain everywhere. I will say, I did not expect what I saw out there. It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It was so pretty out there. Because right on the Hudson River. It's like a little island you got right in the middle of the Hudson River.
It looked like Hogwarts.
Yeah,
It's
it's exactly what it looked like. The dining facility was literally like a castle, and it was insane. Of course, the barracks didn't have AC. And we were in like an office with 20 cots.
Sweating.
You should have seen it. Their mascot or whatever was like the Iron Horse, and they left the horse mask in there, and they had a saddle. So I put the horse mask on. I was like doing all these stupid horse moves or whatever. Then I got on all fours, and Bodwin put the saddle on me. It was retarded. It was like within the first 5 minutes of us being there, we found it.
They're like, all right, get out.
And then they have the plain at West Point, which is like the big patch of grass out there where they do their parade ceremonies. And they said that was the second most valued patch of grass besides the White House in America. And I was like, one, I don't know if that's true. Like, maybe. But second, I was like, guys. We gotta take this, because you're not allowed to step on it, of course. I was like, we got to take the horse mask, just run all the way across the green. I was like, this is the greatest idea I've ever had.
Army what the fuck moments so fast.
Yeah, that'd been hilarious. But that was the only thing I could think of, man. We were there, and all these West Point weenies were out there. Oh yeah. All these weird rules we had to follow. I was like, I just want to do one fun thing. Like, let me do one dumb thing while I'm here. So like, they had a sword in the hallway. Like, let me take that. I'll charge that out there on the plane.
That's why they're weenies. All the rules.
Dude, some of them become institutionalized.
Yeah.
It's almost like a prison.
Yeah.
You're stuck there for 4 years, and it's just insane to see some of the shit that they have to follow, and it looks miserable. Yeah, I told them, I was like, if you could, because there were some cool things about it. You got to do a lot of cool training. You got to see, this cool atmosphere, but you couldn't go out. You had a curfew every night. There's one bar, and it was a nice bar, but whatever. And then, but then you're just here. You're stuck on this little campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if you could combine the coolness of this with the awesome college experience of ECU, you'd have the steroid of accumulation of these two places, and it'd be awesome. It'd be paradise, but obviously they just no. Never. But I guess no, fuck that. I couldn't even see why you'd want to do that. There's some, because a lot of them just turn out to be huge alcoholics. They can't cope. They want to get away from this place so bad. They need. I guess they want to numb the last 4 years of their life.
I'm sure you've seen like active duty guys that left enlisted and went to West Point. I could not imagine.
No,
I could not.
Absolutely not. Did you see the someone just broke the record for the bomb suit mile?
Mm-mm.
So like the 100-pound bomb suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, someone just ran a mile in that, and I think it was like under 8 minutes. It's like a 100-pound bomb suit. Yeah, I think I can't. There's some lieutenant. I think they might have been doing it for 82nd week at Bragg, but I don't know. I've been pretty interested in that week so far. They do some crazy stuff.
I seen I don't know who he was, but I'm sure I think he was with the Red Devils. Dude had on OCPs and a parachute and reserve, and he had painted his entire face red and had devil horns on, and was running with the division. Stayed in front like the whole time.
That's awesome.
I was
I can't understand the division runs where everyone falls out. How does everyone there's maybe 200 people at the back, you shouldn't be here. You go somewhere else. Get out of the 82nd. What are you? You're a wasted airborne slot in my eyes.
Can't keep up with the run.
No, I just want to go somewhere cool whenever I leave. If you send me to fucking
Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Dude, I hate Fort Polk. I hate it. I never want to go back. But some of the things that I've done have given me a bad view on some of the places. I have a terrible view of Bragg because all I do is shitty training there.
Yep.
I just did that Norwegian ruck there. Nothing good ever happens.
Nothing good happens at Bragg.
Yeah, like nothing that I do at least. But Bottom was like, yeah, like give it a chance. Maybe you'll find a good battalion or a good groove. And he's like, it's not a bad spot. You get to go airborne. I'm like, fuck that. There, like this place sucks. I hate it. I just did that Norwegian over there though. That was the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah, we did Norwegians pretty frequently.
Really?
In Germany, yeah.
It was any reason why? Just cause?
Just to suck life's asshole frequently, I guess. I don't know. But I think they did one right before I left, and I was like, oh, my shit's in household goods. Sorry.
And I got the badge over there for it. Yeah. This is the only badge I've ever seen. I think it's pretty cool though that it has almost like a ranking system.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you do 1, you get the bronze, 2, you get the silver, and 5, you get the gold. Dude, I got to do that 4 more times to get the gold. You're bullshitting me, man.
No.
Reyes ran with me maybe the first 6 or 7 miles.
That dude's a freak of nature,
Dude,
though.
he was slowing down for me, and we were going at like a 10-minute pace, and he said, I'm gonna go with you for the first hour. He said, then I'm gonna go do my own thing. I was like, okay, but because I run better whenever I have a pacer because I can't pace myself.
Yep.
And it hit an hour. We'd hit maybe 6 or 7 miles, and he was like, I want you to get my earbuds out of my bag. I was like, okay. So we stopped. He peed. He stopped to pee while I kept running. And then I I was like, I wonder how long he's gonna be back there. As soon as I thought that, that fucker flies ahead of me. He's going like an 8-minute pace. I think he finished, right like at 3 hours.
Him and Kerrigan have like tree trunks.
Yeah.
Legs.
Dude.
Like the biggest quads. Especially for their height too. Like,
yeah. Well, I guess the good thing is for them, smaller people put on muscle easier.
Mhm.
But dude, they got some damn teardrops for quads. Kerrigan has by far the best quads I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And Reyes has some really good legs as well. And he's so strong. The dude benches 300 pounds.
Who? Reyes?
Reyes. I wouldn't have thought that, but I've seen him. You know, whenever we run, we'll take our shirts off. That dude's got a chest like a fucking haymaker, man.
Barrel-chested freedom fighter.
Dude. Insane chest. But what's funny is that he doesn't train his back very much. Whenever we were training back, he had to do like half the weight as me. Like, but then you go to any push exercise, he's doubling my weight. Like, it makes weird, weird training split.
Nature.
Yeah, weird split you got going on. But yeah, he's been making fun of me recently because I've been getting back into running and trying to get back to as fast as I was last year. And I'll show him my splits. He's like, dude, you're shit. He's like, you're really slow. And I'm like, we're not all like running 50 miles a week.
Yeah. He just got I think he got a Tacoma too.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be that guy. Stereotypical LT.
Absolutely. Straight up butter bar. But yeah, he's been coaching me a little bit, but most of it's just like mean comments. But
why you suck at this?
What I really need to figure out is my fucking heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a 3-mile run last night, and my max heart rate was like 209.
Mine was 200 yesterday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
200. I was like, is that bad?
Well, like your max heart rate is supposed to be 220 minus your age. So mine should be 199.
I'm right there then.
You're 27?
Yeah.
You should be 193 then.
No, never mind. I'm not right there.
Not right there.
Math.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Yeah, but I guess I'm trying to get there. It's tough. Well, man, I think we hit about 3 hours or
almost 4.5. No, 3.5. Math again. Got me.
Well, thanks for coming over. I've been trying to get people over here to talk on this thing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I never really cared about like making money or anything, but I think it'd be cool if people actually just saw it. You know, people in the program, especially if you look at you or Koch or something like that. But I try to do enough stuff away from military to where it's not only military stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to bring in the fishing and stuff like that.
Things that I actually enjoy.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming over. If you want to hit that pause button, we'll go ahead and end this thing. Bye, everybody.